Hey folks, we're back with another episode of Three Men and an Anime. Uh,
Yay!
as I'm Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friends and co-hosts Eric Carlson and Gav Leaf. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Um, yes.
Yes.
I know it's a typical response from me, but I have the same mood every Monday night when we record this. I've just finished work. I've got a day off tomorrow. I'm deal. I don't care. And we've got anime, and it's a good one.
Yes.
Yes. This time was Gav's choice, which was the
Hello,
first season
Gundam,
of
my old friend.
first season of Iron Blooded Orphans, Mobile Suit Gundam. Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans.
Yeah, Peter's been saying for a while that he's not really paid any attention to Gundam, and I gave him the soft intro with Build Fighters, which was all of the action and none of the angst, and yeah, this is the real thing.
It's not the real thing, Gav. They didn't drop a colony on anyone, and it's not a universal century.
Well, yeah, we decided not to dive into the
The impenetrable morass that is the universal century.
Yeah, I'm the one who has not watched much Gundam of the three of us.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't noticed that of 36 episodes of me and being Eric just gibbering over giant robots?
Yeah. I never would have guessed you two were Gundam fans.
It's ridiculous. I don't like Gundams. Zaku's, that's another matter.
Yeah, Eric likes the grunt mechs. Sig Xion!
To be fair, I'm not so fond of the Greys in this series. It's all right. It just doesn't have the charm of any of the other mechs.
Yeah, getting into that a lot. This was actually a bit of a note when the first design started coming out that all the Gundam frames in this look very skeletal. All the mobile suits, they're a really weird design. They have really odd-looking legs. They're not the big stumpy robots that you've seen before. They're almost on spindles, in some cases. Again, it's more like armor plate. It's very much more armor plates over a skeleton rather than the big hulking robots you may have seen in like things like Gundam Wing and all that kind of stuff.
Right. The thing is, I generally like that aesthetic, like particularly with their protagonist Gundam, the Barbados. That never doesn't look cool, and it goes through a few redesigns over the course of the series as they experiment with extra armor, less armor, bigger guns, giant fuck off mace, giant fuck off sword.
Yeah, when they first started advertising this season, they actually tried to market it saying that, and I think it was a mistranslation, that Barbatos would actually absorb and take armor from those it defeats. What it turns out to me is like, no, these guys are space rats. They're just scavenging any bit of armor that gets knocked off and they can grab hold of.
Yeah.
So you do see occasionally Barbatos' massive Gundam with like armor from the grunt suits just welded to its shoulder because it hasn't got any shoulder armor. It's really cool, like aesthetic. It's not as big and shiny as all the Gundams of the past.
Yeah, there's a definite not quite full on junker tech salvage stuff going on, but there's definitely a quality of this is what we got available. Slap it on there. Try to make it look symmetrical.
And hope it works. Now, we were just having a bit of a chat before we actually started recording. We figured we could probably save it in, and it's probably a good point to put it in here because it is the very start of the show.
Sure, absolutely.
It is one thing we want to know. We don't do this a lot, and although we do appreciate the music of the shows that we listen to, that we
yes,
watch,
we do.
And the way they add to the show and everything else, the intros and outros of this show especially stand out. The main theme, "Raise Your Flag," for the first half of the season, is a standout by in of itself among standouts, in my opinion. It's
Yes.
an absolutely awesome theme. Not to say that the theme that replaced it, I forget the name off the top of my head, or either of the ending themes. We don't often listen to the ending themes through. In this one, we did.
Well, it's because they're both good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Orphan's Tears, again, the first one. And again, I can't remember the second one. But yeah, both of them great songs. And they use them really well. Again, both intro themes are perfect build-up songs. They get you pumping, get you ready. And then the outros, they almost use them and we were joking about it, almost similar to how JoJo's Bizarre Adventure used Roundabout by Yes.
They'd start playing the opening sort of notes of the closing theme over the ending of the episode. And
there are a few times where they just did the credits over the end of the episode to get a few more minutes in there because, well, these guys are like, we got too much story. Let's keep going.
I mean, it doesn't always work as well in certain episodes, and the song doesn't always line up with, especially the second outro.
The second outro, much less so. The beginnings of Orphan's Tears works well as and sort of a cue. The end of the episode's ending, sort of cue.
Yeah. There's one or two episodes where the second one works.
Yep.
It depends on what's going on in the episode. Although there is one point, won't spoil, but there's a very important moment towards the end of the season, and they bring back Orphan's Tears as the outro with good reason, and it is absolutely perfect. And if anyone tells you that the guys writing the story do not take a note, or at least the guys producing the show don't actually pay attention to what they're using for music, bullshit.
Well, any good director or producer is going to pay attention to that stuff, but they did a standout job with this one, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not just...
they're not Yoko Kanno, but they're damn good.
No, but it's not a case of, that's a good song, just tack it on the end. It's like, no, we're going to use the music.
Yep. No, as Eric said, we're not talking Yoko Kanno or the guy who did the music for Recreators, whose name escapes me, who's also really, really good. Fuck, I forget his name. I'll look it up later. Those two are among the best out there at sort of doing sort of musical direction in anime, but
yeah.
I've got the wiki open. It's right in front of me. I'm saying I can't remember the names of the songs.
Yeah, the second opening was Survivor, I think.
Survivor. Yep. Raise Your Flag and Survivor are the intros, and Rage of Dust. No, it's not. Oh, that's opening music. Oh, yeah. And Orphan's Tears and... Is it that one? Steel?
It's Steel something or other, I think, yeah.
It's called Steel, parentheses, Iron-Blooded Bonds. That's the outro for the second one, by a band called True. And that I actually like that one. That was one of the first ones after Raise Your Flag that I actually found on YouTube and could listen, but yeah. They're all good.
Yeah,
they are all good. As I've said a couple of times now, there are shows that we have covered, some more obvious than others, and there are shows even out there right now that are on being aired right now that would die for the cast-offs of this show.
Yeah,
hell, there are even good shows that would kill for the cast-offs of this show.
Yeah.
There are plenty of shows that have perfectly serviceable openings that aren't quite as good as say Survivor or But yeah, the music in the show is really solid. They do a really good job of using the music. I will say we were all a little disappointed during the big climactic fight that when as always the opening theme comes in to play over the fight, and it was Survivor and not Raise Your Flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all like, but.
I mean, Survivor's
Survivor's
appropriate, at least title-wise, but at the same time, you're like, no, this is a rallying point, guys. Raise your fucking flag.
It's like, this was awesome. It was an awesome moment, but we've heard Raise Your Flag. This would be cool, but we want that one.
Yeah.
Can't go back to Domino's after having gourmet pizza, guys.
That's not a fair comparison. That's not
a fair comparison.
That's not fair to Survivor, Eric.
No, it's not. It was much better than Domino's. It was more than tomato paste, cardboard, and plastic cheese.
But yeah. So, what is Blooded Orphans? Well, okay. If you have never watched a Gundam series before, we should probably talk about the actual sort of, the basic story beats because
Right.
Well, hang on, because I can cover the beats quite easily. In fact, I did way back in the episode where we did Build Fighters, and I got called out in the chat for it, but I still stand to my point. Every single Gundam series is exactly the same. There is politicking based on the Earth sphere or some sort of force around Earth trying to control the outer colonies. The outer colonies fighting back, and then children die. Fight me.
I can't argue. I've only watched Blooded Orphans. And that oversimplifies IBO. I would.
It does massively
oversimplifies all of them. I'll call bullshit on that because Gundam also almost always includes dropping a colony on someone unsuspecting. And that doesn't happen in Blooded Orphans.
No,
as far as we know.
There is no colony drop, at least in Season 1.
Yep.
I don't think there is one in Season 2 either. I'll have to rewatch it.
No, I don't think so.
I wouldn't.
No one drops a colony in anyone.
No spoilers.
So, our primary protagonists, actually, are a group of child soldiers who are child mercenaries, I should say.
Oh, they're definitely fall into the whole child soldiers thing.
Absolutely, but they are mercs. They
are.
Basically,
the polite way to put them would be
child labor.
Indentured armsmen.
Yeah. It's a case of the whole thing about it, and again, for those not familiar, Gundam, it's an action show, but it's also heavily political and that kind of stuff as well. So the whole bit of it is these guys all live on Mars, and Mars is far enough outside of Earth's influence where the rules don't always apply. So all these big rich corporations, or at least the fat cats that reckon they're big corporations, are quite happy to raid the local orphanages every now and again for cheap labor and make them do everything from scrubbing floors to, fighting wars.
Child labor laws.
Yeah, exactly.
Unions, those don't exist out here. Fuck those guys.
To the point where it's like, literally the kids get beaten, they get starved, they get nothing and are expected to be grateful.
They're forced to undergo traumatic surgery for cybernetic implants.
Yeah.
One of the things in this that comes up over and over again is this huge taboo against any kind of cybernetic augmentation in society at large. A lot of the characters in this, because they're basically street rats that are that had been indentured to a less than reputable private military provider, we'll say. I've had... It's something vaguely Swedish sounding that I can't pronounce, so I'm going to call it a vehicle control rig.
It's called the Alaya Vijnana. It's an awkward name, but yeah. It's basically, all it is, it's a port system that links directly into the spine. Looks like an ugly-ass set of pipes, well, not pipes, but growths on their back, which they plug into themselves. So they can control, at least to begin with, so they can control something called a mobile worker, which is a small tripod tank kind of thing that they use for maintenance. It's
kind of like a three-legged spider tank from Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, basically. And it just lets them plug in so that they control it as they normally would, but the reactions are faster because it's linked directly into their nervous system.
Yeah. If for those familiar with the game Shadowrun, it's a vehicle control rig, which I'm going to call it because I'm going to butcher calling it anything else.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's not an easy operation to go through. So a lot of
it's only got like a 60% success rate, with side effects upon failure being like paralysis, death, that kind of shit.
Yeah,
paralysis, death-like symptoms. Strokiness.
So it's all in all, it's an awesome life for these kids. Yo.
No. No. Their lives are shit. Let's not beat around the bush.
The closest thing to a law out on Mars and the outlying planets is they're kind of like the UN with teeth called Gjallarhorn.
Gilhorn, yeah.
Gjallarhorn. Gjallarhorn is basically an independent military with extensive use of mobile suits and warships to basically police space.
Yeah. Their whole edict is they stay neutral. They watch the colonies. They don't interfere in Earth because the Earth at this point is divided up into economic blocks. They don't interfere with those guys. They let them deal with what they need to deal with, and they just police the rim and police the outer colonies. Generally, the majority of them. They're exactly what you'd expect.
They've been around for 300 years, and they ride entirely on the laurels of their success in something called the Great Calamity War, which is only ever alluded to, but was bad.
Yeah.
And are corrupt, lazy, largely incompetent, and arrogant as all fuck off.
It's less. They've got to the point now where they're less concerned about doing the job that they were given, and more about solidifying their own power base within the organization, and just all that kind of shit.
Sustaining the status quo, which they benefit from. So basically like any long-standing organization.
That's a general rule of thumb. Yeah.
And I forget exactly what prompts Gjallarhorn decide they have a big bug up their ass about GSC.
Well,
it's very simple.
Yeah, it's about 5'6" with blonde hair.
Oh yeah, her.
So
yeah. I got so used to her being like a part of the crew that I forgot that she wasn't.
Yeah. So there's this young woman from the sort of upper classes on Mars. I forget her last name.
Kudelia Ina Bernstein.
Ina Bernstein, yes.
If you've ever watched Gundam before, she's the blonde-headed princess.
Yeah, yes. She's the princess.
There is always one.
And she's started agitating for Mars to receive equal rights. Because Earth kind of dominates things economically in a lot of ways, and it's making things on Mars kind of
shit.
Yeah, shit.
It's like getting all Mars's resources for nickel and dime.
It's classic colonialism, honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
But before she shows up, it shows you this scene of, the high-class Martians, massive air quotes, protesting. And it's your typical, what you'd see in this, sometimes in this day and age. It's like, they don't know what they're protesting. They're just protesting because, we're fighting the problem. It's like they've got slogans daubed on their body paint, and peace signs. It's like, for fuck's sake. And Cordelia, to her credit, she's looked a little bit into the thing. She's walked around the slums and seen all the poor people and decided she wants to help them.
Yeah, Cordelia's straight up honest. She's not just waving a sign and posting likes on Twitter. She's actually doing shit.
Yes.
She is organizing. She is getting people motivated. She is putting together lobbying blocks. She's for being it's said 16 or 17. She's a force to be reckoned with already.
Yes,
she is. The big flaw that she has, which becomes apparent really quickly, and one we all actually quite liked, was that she is naive as all hell.
Yes.
Because it's one thing to say that you're going to fight for other people's freedom.
It's another thing to actually do it.
It's one thing to go and do it, and it's also another thing that she wasn't expecting when she shows up and tells people she's going to help fight for their freedom.
Yeah, they don't really believe her. They're like,
No,
yeah, okay,
they-
that's nice.
A couple of them are just like, go fuck yourself. Who the fuck do you think you are?
And the answer turns out someone who actually gives a shit.
Yeah. Kudelia turns out to be fucking awesome.
Yes.
She
Because while
to
she
begin
is
with,
naive,
yes.
she is also entirely willing to learn.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is something that not a lot of people are, honestly.
She and as the course of the show goes on, she gets her hands dirty more than a few times.
Yep.
She's down in the trenches. Well, not literally, despite the fact there are in fact literal trenches. But that's because listen, I'm 8 years old and I've got 6 years experience rifle fighting. You have no idea what you're doing. Go do triage.
And she quickly realizes, yep, all right, I got it.
Yep, you are correct.
I'll go help in
where
the
I'm most
kitchen.
useful and not under your feet.
I will get out of your way. Because again, Kudelia is not stupid. She is very smart. Just naive. And more than a little bit sheltered at first.
Yeah.
Yes.
She gets cured of that quickly.
Well, the other thing is she very clearly, she was trying to get out from being sheltered as much.
Yes.
Like, as you see her backstory as the show goes along, she wants to know what's going on, what's actually going on. Because, and she wants to know the uncomfortable truths.
Right.
Yeah. Now,
And there are two people that are like, yeah, sure, here's the truth, fully expecting it to break her, and she's like, yep, okay, now what do we do to change it? And they're like, oh, fuck, what do we do now?
And yeah, so it turns out the whole reason, she's shown up and she's causing shit, and she's threatening the status quo, so it prompts Galahorn to get involved. And you have the typical stuck-up, his own arse, commander of the most remote battleship. He's fucking Rimmer. He's Arnold Rimmer.
Yes.
He's all about himself, pompous little prick that he's only in charge because he's nowhere near anybody else that can get a promotion.
He's earned himself some promotions to least important spots.
Yeah. And he's had dealings with it turns out a Mr. Norman Bernstein. The surname may be familiar.
It's almost like it's Cordelia's father.
Yeah. And it turns out that he's basically turning his own daughter in.
Yeah, he's basically selling her out.
He's selling her out and saying, she's there. If you take her, it'll be a massive blow against, because she'll prove herself because she'll prove herself as a radical and all this sort of stuff and a trouble causer. So if you get her and claim her, it's all good. And
I don't have to deal with her fucking up my shit because, I'm totally guilty of all the shit that she's railing against. That's how we got rich.
Well, yeah, God bless Cordelia, though. There's a scene a little bit later on where somebody says, you don't belong in this world. You should go back to your little palace. And she goes, I only really told 3 people I was coming here. Why do you think Galahorn know I'm here?
My dad sold me out. I know this.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot.
I did the math. I know what's happening.
Yeah, she goes, I only told 3 people I was coming here, and suddenly my dad was fine with what I was doing. Okay, well played. Okay, that was the first time we got a little hint of Cordelia. We're like, oh, okay.
She's naive in an idealistic way, but she can do the math.
Yes, she can.
Now, 1 + 1 does equal 2. Oh, fuck. 1 + 1 = 2. Okay.
In the background of all this, we've been bumping into and meeting a few of the crew of the I think it's CCS, is it, or CGS?
CGS, yeah.
CGS, the guys that that own the kids, and we've seen them doing drills and laying mines and digging up mines to lay them again as just give them something to anything to do that just degrades them basically. And 1 or 2 characters have been popping up. There's the big guy, the one adult in the group that works the garage.
Yeah,
Yep.
the chief mechanic, yeah.
The chief mechanic. He's like the only adult, and working around him and taking orders from him. You've got the rest of the guys, different squads. And we meet. I forget how they actually come into it, but it's. I think they're just on maneuvers or something like that, aren't they? I can't remember how they introduce them.
Orca's kind of in charge of the
He's in charge of one of the squads. One of the squads.
He's in charge of the shit squads.
Yeah.
So he's actually part of the detail that gets introduced to Cordelia.
That's it. Yes.
And
yeah, basically,
yeah.
The CGS guys basically decide that their actual number one squad, who are the grown-ups and the guys that hand out the beatings and the first company, basically, they're not good enough to babysit the silly little princess. The boss humours her for a bit and then assigns the B squad, who are the kids.
So we should actually mention why Cordelia is there, because that's actually really important.
Yes.
She is hired CGS. She's being backed by somebody with the last name of Nobilis, who's another business type, who is sympathetic with her cause, supposedly. And he is bankrolling her trip to go to meet with the head of one of the Earth's economic blocks to negotiate for improving trade deals on Mars between Mars and Earth.
Yeah.
So they've hired CGS to escort her to Earth. That's why she's there. That's actually a big point, shall we say?
Yeah. Yeah. And so she gets told by she gets babysat basically by Auger's squad. Auger, being the tall blonde-haired dude, as Eric just said, he never really gives you an idea. He comes across as quite adult in his design, but in his character and the way he acts, you could tell he's a kid.
Yeah,
he's a teenager.
Orga's clearly like someone who grew up quick.
Yeah, he's very mature for a sort of teenager, but he's definitively a teenager.
Yeah,
he's a kid who had to grow up way too fucking fast.
But he's cool. He's cool, but he's also hot-headed. He's a bit passionate. He's impulsive at times. Takes things to heart really hard. And then you've got
he could make the hard, some might say monstrous decisions to get shit done.
Yes, he's very focused. And then you've got his exact opposite in Mika, or Mikazuki as his full name.
Mikazuki August.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, Mika, as the, again air quotes, hero Gundam pilot, which he becomes, this kid's fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
he's scary in a way Hero Yui wanted to be.
Well, no, Mika is entirely that sort of quiet, assessing type who will kill you if he decides he has to without even giving a second thought.
Mm.
He's borderline psychopathic. He doesn't. Mika's capable of affection and empathy, but he doesn't bother a lot of the time. Because he's clearly a kid that's been hurt way too often.
Yep.
And walls that shit off, and he's perfectly willing to kill someone else to defend himself or
the people he
cares about.
Yeah.
Which again isn't a lot.
No.
If you're in Mika's good books, if you're in his inner circle,
your goal. He will move mountains for you.
We see a couple of times
he might do it completely like with little inflection or expression, but he will move mountains for you. This is a guy that expresses himself through actions, not through really anything else.
There's a couple of times throughout this series where we see someone that Mika directly cares about get hurt by someone else, and all three of us were like, "Oh,
you are
just
fucked." Few people survive him when that happens.
And it's not always even the scary part. It's not always even with the fucking Gundam.
No.
Yeah, Mika maybe is not the biggest guy, but he's
Mika's
a lot
actually
stronger.
a bit of a shrimp.
He's very short, but he's also very strong for someone his size, and utterly ruthless when he needs to be, or when he wants to be, or when he decides to be, or most of the time, really.
Here's the thing: Mika is completely aware that he does not have the decision-making capability when it comes to how he should apply violence. He leaves that to Orga.
Yep.
He's like, "Listen, dude, Mika never comes out and says it, but he's very much of the opinion like, I am batshit insane and I cannot be trusted with this decision-making process. Orga, what do I need to do?"
There's one moment where he actually looks at Orga and says, "Who do I have to kill?"
Yeah. That happens several times.
Yeah. But no, he almost never says that flat out directly. Who do you want me to kill?
The only time he does that was when Orga's like going through quite a bit of an existential crisis.
Yes.
And Mika's like, well, the answer is clearly to murder someone. Who do I need to kill?
Yeah, I think I commented on that when it was like, oh, Mika's going to light a fire under Orga with a flamethrower. Oh, dear.
As terrible as they're making these people sound, they're actually really awesome.
Oh, that's the thing.
But I think, was it Peter? I think you made the comment, if you spin this round and look at it from the... Oh, it was Eric. Spin this show round and look at it from the other side. These kids are monsters.
Yes. We're also seeing them, like... We're often seeing them at their lowest when they're... And when they're just being droogs with each other. Like, one of these Swedish relationships that Mika has is with the other female lead, Astra. Atra. Who's definitely younger than Mika.
She's a couple of years younger, but it's to that point
where
she's
carrying a torch for him.
Yeah, she's young enough that she still looks childlike, whereas he's clearly a teenager. But God bless Atra.
Yeah.
She's as tough as any of those fuckers in that crew.
Yes, she is.
She might be mentally the toughest person in the show.
Yeah.
We get a really quick sort of like little background vignette with her, and it's like, she's getting. There's a scene later down the show where she's like getting tortured and beat for information.
Yeah, they think someone picks her up thinking that she's Cordelia, and they're trying to torture her, and she's getting her ass kicked. And like later on, one of the other people is captured with her. Why did you take that beating? All you had to do is tell them you're not Cordelia. And she's like, these guys are pussies. When I was working in the brothel, it was much worse.
Yeah, we get a vignette where she was basically a mop girl in a brothel, and the working women in there used to beat her because she was the mop girl.
Yeah,
and she's literally like saying, "No, I'd get worse than that every night. I was nothing." And it was like, that was simultaneously the most badass and yet
saddest,
completely awful thing to ever come out with.
It was incredibly badass, but oh my god, that poor girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
She went through
shit. They never let you forget that they...
Yeah, never.
It's a fact of life how shitty these guys' lives are. And they show you making the best of it and having fun and whatnot, but they never completely forget it. It's like the way Avatar: Last Airbender handles Toph's blindness.
Right.
It's a thing that's always there, even if it's not always commented on.
This is why, as I mentioned, when Cordelia shows up and starts saying, "Oh no, I'm going to change things on Mars, and I'm going to save you," and somebody I think it's Mika turns around to say, don't patronize my friends, thinking that you're work. Oh no, that's it. If it's during when Galahorn come after, it's like, no, you can't send them out there. They're going to die. I'm not having anyone die for me. And Mika's like, get the fuck over yourself. Don't you dare try and say my friends are worth your life. He's not going to give her up. He's going to defend her. But it's like, no, they're not dying. They're not.
They were
dying
hired
for
to do
you.
a job. They're going to do the job.
Yeah, they're not dying for you. They're doing what they do. It's such a pragmatic sort of. It's such a cynical outlook for kids that are barely in their teens.
Some of them aren't even in their teens.
No, there is the young group, which are just kids,
Yeah.
So yeah, what we're saying is this show can get a little dark.
Yeah,
a little, just a little,
and not like the ooh, look at us, we're edgy. No, this show gets actually dark.
Now, alongside that, there's a couple of people that have shown up as well, up in space on Rimmer's flagship, that are also very important to the series. A1 McGillis Fareed and Galio Baldwin.
Yes.
Who arrive under the guise of Galahorn inspectors. Essentially, they've come out to check on Rimmer and see what
things
he's
doing. Rimmer's not at all happy about
routine
this.
inspections.
Yeah, and all just as he's launched an attack vessel to go and capture Cordelia on the sly. He's doing this as a side job. And he's crawling up their ass. He's offering him this, that, and the other. He's saying, "Well, if you can't find what you'd like, maybe I could just help you out a little bit." And goddamn, McGillis just turns around. Are you trying to bribe me? That's an offense. He's like, no, no.
Fuck! I got one. The inspectors aren't bribable ones. Fuck!
He leaves the room.
Oh my God, Elliot Ness, I'm boned.
McGillis and Galio are basically they're not adoptive brothers, but they might as well be. They've grown up their entire lives together. And as soon as he leaves the room, they're like saying, "Wow, he really is a piece of shit."
Yeah, both McGillis and Gallo are. Let's just say they're not that impressed with most of Gillahorn at this point.
Yeah, well, both of them belong to, as we find out, two of the great families of Galahorn. They're known as the Seven Stars, the ruling caste, basically.
Because hereditary positions are exactly how you make sure these things work properly.
Yes.
Oh
totally.
yeah, absolutely. There's a few different ones, and yeah, they've been long friends over time. For a very clear reason, as it turns out, that McGillis is actually engaged to Galio's younger sister. Political marriage, because strengthening the families.
But by younger, we mean by
she's
like
9.
More of a decade.
She's 9.
Yeah, she's 9. He's a young adult, so
yeah,
it's a political marriage.
He's in his
marriage,
20s. He's definitively in his 20s.
He's easily in his 20s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say he handles his interactions with Galo's little sister surprisingly not that creepily.
Yeah, he's very much as a little sister that he respects and cares for. He does not creep on her at all.
No. Almeria, that's it.
Almeria, yeah.
But she's doing, she's the little girl that's just been told she's a princess and she's going to marry a prince.
Yeah.
So she's running around doing everything, and and he's like, yeah, that's nice. He's been perfectly, nice with her and humouring her and all this sort of stuff.
Well,
but it's handled about as well as.
Yeah.
Not humouring, but you know what I mean. It's going along with letting her have her.
I mean, again, this is it's an arranged political marriage. It's going to happen.
And it's handled about as well as you could.
Yeah. I would agree with that. That it's actually, I was surprised by how not creepy they made it. I mean, given all things considered, I mean, Again,
this show handles a lot of decidedly uncomfortable subject matter remarkably well.
I would agree with that. Yes.
But it's like there's one scene a little bit later on where they're at the big engagement party where that's been thrown. It's a typical political party. It has absolutely nothing to do with those two, and it's all about getting all the bigwigs together for a chat.
Right.
All the upper class, young women fawning over fawning over McGillis, trying to tease him and all this sort of stuff. And Almeria notices and walks off. And God bless McGillis, he sees, walks straight after, and she's crying that she can't dance with him because she's only like 3 foot tall, and she's not grown in and all this sort of stuff. And he's like, all he does is just picks her up and dances with her.
Yeah.
It's like, well done. That's all. It's a shit situation. He knows he's in a shit situation.
Yep.
But it's not her fault.
Right. Well, the other thing is, like, it's very clear that these other certain noble women they know, okay, this marriage is going to happen. They're very clearly angling for mistress status. I mean, that's
yes.
It's like.
For all of the praise we're heaping on McGillis for being a good person here, it's important to remember that he's a fucking bastard.
It doesn't become clear. It doesn't become absolutely clear until about halfway through, but yeah.
And Gallia, who's comes off as a bit of a ponce on occasion, turns out to be a stand-up guy all through.
He's got several aristocratic vices, he's got a lot of the aristocratic vices that McGillis doesn't have, but he has a lot of good points that McGillis also doesn't have.
Yes.
That said, McGillis, he definitively falls into the magnificent bastard trope.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, rather than going down the plot, I think the easiest way to do this is just to basically go through the characters themselves and
explain the relationship to each other because
and it quickly becomes apparent that McGillis is basically he, as Peter says multiple times, he's playing the left and the right against the middle.
Yep.
He's playing both sides, and he means what he says about sick of the corruption in Galahorn. He's well aware of it.
Oh, it's very clear he's got a long-term plan, and he's willing to do anything to get there.
Now,
yeah,
as people who me and Eric have seen it, the majority of that plan unfolds in the second season. So, but there is enough in here to. Yeah, exactly, Peter. Exactly. The majority of that plan is in the second season.
I'm not surprised. Oh, it's very clear.
What we see of him is of McGillis is eventually what happens is the strike force that Rimmer sends down to Mars hits CGS. CGS First Division and upper management bug the fuck out using the kids as a meat shield. The kids, knowing exactly what's going on, set it up so that they can't. And after fending off Galahorn, conduct themselves a little coup.
Yep.
Well, the whole thing with it is though that like you say, they send out the B squad in the mobile suit, in the mobile workers,
the Sparta tanks.
And while it's mobile worker versus mobile worker, that's all well and good. Because they've got the advantage, they know the terrain, they've got mines, they're starting to come back. And then the mobile suits show up. Mobile workers are not a match for mobile suits. No. And this is the first time the kids start getting slaughtered. We see quite a few that they're all excited to go out and get into a fight and all this sort of stuff, and they're not coming back.
Nope.
Yeah.
Quite quickly, this showed, yes, these kids, they're expendable. And the mobile suits are having their way with these mobile workers, and Augur says to Mikaski, okay, I think it's time. And Mikaski goes into the base.
Yeah,
and it turns out the base... the power source for the base.
Goddamn Gundam.
Yeah, so he goes in and and gets wired into Barbados, the Gundam they have.
Yes, and they even converted it with an Alaya Vijana as well, so that he can interface with it.
Yeah, they basically slap a mobile worker cockpit on the damn thing.
Yeah. And it's, half fueled, minimal armor, one weapon, and fucking annihilates.
Well, between the reaction enhancements from the vehicle control rig, the fact that the Gundam frames are in fact superior machines. They're only like I think they say they're like maybe 20 were built.
70 something or other total. 72, I think.
Okay.
72 total, yeah.
Right. And they're artifacts in the Great Calamity War, which means they incorporate a whole lot of forbidden tech.
Yep.
And Bukowski's prodigious natural proficiency in violence.
Yes.
One other thing that becomes clear quickly as well is this is a very much, taking the whole giant robots and space travel out of it, this is a very much grounded series. Mm-hmm. So none of the they don't have, there's not a single beam weapon in this entire show.
Yeah, it's all solid slugs,
solid slugs,
missiles, and melee
missiles,
weapons.
And big fucking melee weapons.
And the melee weapons are like beam sabers or like chainsaw blades or heat hawks or anything like that. No, they are just big slabs of sharpened metal.
And Barbatos's, tool of choice is a huge
mace.
huge flanged mace, which just annihilates.
It's a
anything
combo
it hits.
mace and spear.
Yeah, it's got like some sort of like drive point with a pile driver on the tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's kick-ass.
It is a brutal weapon.
Use some brutal effects. Because, again, if you know anything about Gundam, the cockpits are generally in the chest. And when that thing hits something in the chest...
It goes through it.
It just goes crumple. And you're like, ooh.
That's a dead guy. That's a dead guy. That's a dead guy.
It's a very visceral show. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah. Member of the strike team that sees his entire command get slaughtered by Mika in a giant red, white, and blue robot is Ainz, who becomes another principal antagonist for her.
Yep.
Who is basically a guy who is Martian-born but joined Gallahorn. For being Martian-born has been treated like shit by the most of Gallahorn until his immediate superiors, who just got slaughtered.
No. His immediate superior doesn't die in this fight.
No, he falls back.
The third guy dies in this fight.
The three in mobile suits show up. Mika kills one of them.
Who is the overall commander.
Right.
Who they comment, if he deployed us earlier, we wouldn't have lost so many mobile suits or taken so many casualties.
Yeah, that guy was an idiot. And his lieutenant basically sees the boss went down, Ainz mobile suit is badly damaged. We're bugging out. No. We retreat now.
That thing is going to kill us all.
We were not prepared for this thing. Time to fall back, reassess our intelligence, and then figure out what the fuck to do. Oh my god, I've been fighting kids. Why didn't intelligence tell us I was fighting kids?
Yeah, Lieutenant Crank is the guy in question, and he's actually kind of awesome. He's like, as soon as he finds out he's been sent to just massacre child soldiers, he's like, no, fuck this shit. He tries to explain it to Ein. He's like, no, this isn't right. Okay, I'm not going into that battlefield again. I'm not going to just murder children in mobile workers. No. And he goes off on his own. And,
right. Because he reports back to Rimmer, and Rimmer's like, listen, you do this, or you and everyone under your command is getting court-martialed. He's like, fuck.
Yeah, because Rimmer's an asshole.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he goes, okay, well, my other option is I'm going to try this. He goes and just on his own and announces to the newly born Tekadon.
Yeah, because they pulled their coup and Orga's dubbed them Tekadon.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, this is just to cut in. This is where we get the scene where we realize just how cold Mika is, because it's like they have the A squad tied up in a basement after they drugged them in their food. They walk in and say, "So, who wants to work with us and who wants to be a problem?" And the chief, the captain of the A squad, stands up saying, "You fucking stupid kids! As soon as I get out of here, I'm gonna beat you." Bang. Mika just not a word, straight up bang.
Shoots him, dead.
I'm glad you brought up those concerns. I hope that answered your question. Now,
who wants to stick around and work with us? Who wants to be given their severance packages and leave?
They do give them a chance to leave unless they become a problem.
Yes.
And yeah, at that point they redub themselves Tekadan. The Iron Blood of the Iron Flowers. I think the translation is.
There are two members of A Squad. Two members of A Squad stick around for a little bit. Well, one wasn't going to, but Orga's like, "I can't have you leave yet. You are CBS's accountant. We need your help for a little while. Once you're done with that, you're more than welcome to go. But I'm sorry, you can't leave yet."
You need to tell Biscuit how the hell to handle the books, because I've got no clue, and I don't have any formal education. Biscuit is another character I haven't mentioned yet, who's basically
he's the smart one.
Brains. He's Orga's
the smartest. He is the smartest member of Tekkadan. Orga's probably number 2.
Yeah. Just that Biscuits doesn't have a tactical mind. He's really good at logistics.
But yeah,
he handles the back end.
He is better educated than Orga, and he is actually smarter than Orga.
Yes.
Orga is a better strategist, tactician, and leader.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Orga doesn't always lead with his head.
Not always, and
Orga gets by with a lot of low cunning.
Yeah, but he's always...
Yeah.
He does mention a couple of times he's always had Biscuit as somebody to bounce ideas off, and between them, they'd eventually hash out an intelligent plan.
Right.
Yep.
And again, I agree with you, Eric, that Orga gets by a lot of the time on low cunning, but this is not to say he is not a smart man, because he is.
I'm not using low cunning in anything resembling
I know, but
pejorative. It is something I respect a great deal in other people.
I agree. I mostly agree with you, but I just want to make it very clear. Orga is not just, sort of he's actually a very bright person.
He is, but he's
just
also
not educated.
got that. No, but he's also got that. This is the thing that works to his advantage because he's not educated in a way that he will do things that most people would say, "No, that's fucking stupid."
No one told me it was impossible, so I did it anyway.
A lot of his plans, at least 2 or 3 times, work because they just simply weren't expecting anyone to try that shit.
Oh yeah,
but yeah. So at this point, Barbatos has got himself a new logo on his chest, fully fueled up, and he stood outside the gates because Crank has shown up and said, "Okay, I'm not going to kill any of you guys, but I am here on a job. I've got a mission I need to succeed. So I am challenging the pilot of that mobile suit 1-on-1. If I win, I take the Cadelia girl. If you win..." Actually, no, he doesn't say that. He says, "If I win, I get to keep. I take her." They accept, and it's kind of a brutal fight.
It really is,
because Mika is fucking scary.
And Crank, to his credit, is not pulling punches because he's seen what he can do.
Yeah. There's a great bit of the halfway through there where they're actually talking, going through it, and Mika's like, "So you never said what happens if I win?" And Crank's like, "Well, I don't think that's going to matter, does it?" I can't afford to lose. I can't. Basically, if I don't have her, I'm not going back. And Mika's like, "Fair enough."
Yeah, Mika was initially kind of annoyed that he didn't say what happens if Mika wins, and he's like, and Craig explains, it's not that I don't think you can win, it's that I don't think it really matters. What matters, as far as it doesn't really matter if I don't win, it doesn't really matter. You have her, and Gilhorn's going to be pissed off.
Yeah, I don't have the authority to give you guys a pass. I'm sorry.
Believe me, I wish I could.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. It's my day off.
But yeah,
It goes about as well as it does for him as it does for Dante.
Yeah.
yeah.
At least in the alternate version. Alternate.
But yeah, it gets to the point where Mika just gets a big hit in and actually breaks open the cockpit. Crank's there. He's already dying, blood pouring from him. And Mika just walks down the arm of Barbatos, has a quick chat with him, puts a bullet in his head, and they've got a new mobile suit.
I will say also, I want to make one point clear. Mika doesn't shoot him until Crank basically says, I'm going to die anyways. At least make it painless.
Yeah.
Right.
And Mika's like, all right, bang.
Yeah, no hesitation, just pop.
Yep.
Crank is probably one of the best, out of the members of Galahorn, Crank's a boss.
Oh, yeah.
But he's...
For all of the 3 episodes he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His shadow weighs heavy over Galahorn for the entire series, though.
Oh, yeah.
Partially because his immediate subordinate, Ein, he just develops, this real hate boner for Tekkadan as a result of losing Crank.
Specifically Barbatos.
Yes.
Because although they've not seen it, they've they find out.
Because Ein doesn't understand what he does. For all of the lessons Crank tried to teach him, Ein doesn't really get all of them.
No.
Yeah.
And
that's a fair assessment.
Did not actually know what happened that led to Crank's death. He just assumes that they clearly they must have done something dishonorable and awful and murdered him.
Yeah, clearly they must have cheated. That is the only possible option.
Right. And so he just assumes that they were not worthy of Crank's mercy that he was showing them by doing what he did, which he was definitely showing them mercy by doing what he did. There's no question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could have brought the hammer down considerably earlier.
And so Ein's basically determined that they have to go. They don't deserve mercy. They have to be wiped out. They are awful. And nothing that will ever happen will ever sway him away from that because, kind of single-minded Ein is.
Yeah.
He's not the brightest boy, unfortunately.
No.
I'll give him points for, developing loyalty for people who actually kind of deserve it.
Mm. I mean,
every superior that he develops immense loyalty for, which is 2 of them, both deserve it.
Yes.
Crank really deserves.
Crank, he ends up being taken in by Galio.
And Gaelo is, again,
as we all pronounce it differently.
It is Gaelo, from what at least that's how they were pronouncing the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling him Frank. So Frank.
But yeah, he very clearly he hears that from Ein the kind of shit he's getting from the other Gilhorn troops, and he's like, just don't whatever, dude. You are so much better than they are, and he is. And I'm basically like, yeah, I mean, you are one of the 2 members of 2 Gjallarhorn people who've actually, and to a lesser degree, I don't have had much interaction with McGillis, but you guys and Lieutenant Crank are the only people Gjallarhorn who've shown me anything resembling respect. Because not only was he born on Mars, he's a half-breed.
Yeah, he's half. He's also half Earther.
His dad was from Earth. I believe his dad was from Earth, and his mom's Martian.
Was Mars. So it wasn't just that he was an Earther born on Mars. He's also Martian blood.
Yeah,
but he's also Earth blood. So he didn't fit on Mars. Didn't fit in on Earth either.
Yeah. And Gaelo's basically whatever, dude. You're a good guy. I like you, and you're a good soldier.
You know what you're doing.
fuck these assholes. Don't pay them any mind. And yes, Gilhorn needs work.
Gilhorn needs more people like you, not less.
Yeah.
Now, from there, we get a couple of episodes of like character building, introducing a couple of the extra guys around Tekkadan, but we'll be here all day if we do those.
Yeah, it's a big cast. We don't want to touch on everybody.
Yeah.
The
only real important ones that have any influence come up when they have their moments. For example, there's Eugene that does a lot of the piloting of the.
Yeah, he's their ship's pilot.
ship
Most part. He's their best pilot.
Yeah, there's Akihiro, who's the Akihiro.
Akihiro, yeah.
Akihiro, who's the other major Gundam, not Gundam.
Well, he does end up in a Gundam eventually.
He does. He's the other major mobile suit pilot. They get 3 total.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shino gets the 3rd eventually.
Yep.
The hand-me-down. But other than that, there's like a lot of repeating characters that show up. They build enough so that if and when they die, they get injured, whatever else, that it means something. They do a really good job with that.
Yeah, they do.
And the actual deaths and the injuries do carry weight with their with the others. There is also what's her name? Fumitan.
Yeah, Fumitan, which was someone we had to mention. She's Kudelia's maid. And that's all she is. She's totally
absolutely
just a maid.
Totally just a maid.
More.
Just a maid.
Oh, hey, look, sir. The maids managed to crack that encrypted code and got us communications back. Cool.
There's Naze. Naze is not at all he's not a Yakuza.
Yeah. So basically, they launch into space and are immediately attacked by Galahorn, and they're on the craft that's like the shuttle that's meant to be going up towards the ship that they've rented, which just it immediately sold them out because why wouldn't it?
Oh, that's right. We forgot to mention the other adult who switched over to them.
Yes.
Whose name escapes me because I don't care about his name.
Because his name is Weasel.
Because
Weasel.
He is. You look at him; he's this sort of somewhat scrawny, pot-bellied dude with a Hitler mustache, and he just screams Weasel.
He is the born survivor by any means necessary.
He's a cockroach.
Yeah.
And he's initially like, okay, well, they're the winning side. I'll side with them.
Yep.
Oh, they're
the
doing
running
things
side. I will definitely get. Yep.
And when they agree to stick on and work with Kudelia and not turn her over, he's like, well, that's a stupid idea. I guess I'll just sell them out so I can make it out alive myself.
Yeah. So
that'll get us all killed. Might as well get them killed so I can get out.
The thing is, and this is the thing, every single adult in this show, barring 2 or 3 of the very clever ones, underestimate every single person in Tekkadan.
Yep. Yes, for the most part,
because they're on the ship, the shuttle flying up towards the ship, and it's this big, huge, open compartment of seats and all the rest of it, and all the kids that we've seen, they're all sat there, and the Weasel dude's in the cockpit, and he's saying, it's all awesome, here we go, and then the ship opens fire, and I was looking around that cockpit. That passenger compartment, and I said to these two, I says, I've spotted something. Look who's not there.
Uh-huh.
And sure enough, the second the ship opens fire, the hatch opens and Barbatos steps out.
Yep.
And Barbatos, the mobile suits work well on land. They're built for space.
Well, because that's how it works in Gundam.
Yeah.
And Barbatos proceeds to start wrecking the fuck out of anyone that dares come near them.
Yeah.
Which is alongside it launches the captured Greys, which Akihiro is piloting at that point. And this is where Ein spots it, realizes it's Lieutenant Crank's Greys and they've stolen him. Hence, hate boner. They've not only killed him, but they're now parading around in his suit. But yeah, long story short, they managed to outwit everyone again, grab the ship and bolt. pulling a ridiculous fucking 180 around an asteroid because Eugene's a fucking maniac.
Yes.
So they have to come up with some sort of plan because they need a guide to get to Earth. They're taking sort of
There's a
backwater
technological
routes.
there's a technological thing where the kind of reactors they use for the mobile suits and the ships emit such strong signals that it blocks out a lot of radio communication and electronic devices, that kind of thing. Unless it's shielded, and the only route to Earth is along a guiding beacon that Galahorn controls.
And so they need a guide ship to guide them on the back paths that are the routes that smugglers and people like that use.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the one that they were going to use just sold them out.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we're paid to sell them out, basically, because Weasel Boy. I will say, I love the fact that Orga very quickly figured out that it was Weasel Boy who sold them out.
Yeah,
he sort of does the math. It's like, who stands to benefit the most from this? There's a
great scene where McGillis and Galileo were standing over this huge thing they've just pulled in from space. We don't know what it is. It just says it's a present from Tekkadan. Okay, they open it up, and it's Weasel. It's been beat to all hell and just dumped in this box and cast into space.
With a note saying, "We think this belongs to you." And McGillis thinks this is one of the funniest goddamn things he's ever seen.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh, that's great." I think this is where McGillis started developing sort of as much affection as he develops for anybody for Tekkadan.
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, these kids aren't half bad."
All right, well done, kids.
Well, we have had a couple of brief meetings with them before.
Yes.
Down on Mars when they came to investigate a couple of things, and Mikaz. Yeah. So again, just to show how much he sets off, they accidentally almost run over. I think it's Atra.
No, they almost run over Biscuit's sisters.
Oh, Biscuit's sisters. Yeah, Cookie and Cracker.
Who are named Cookie and Cracker, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah. So Mikazki goes over, drags Galileo out of the car, and holds him in the air with one arm by the throat. Mikazki's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
It's like, motherfucker, what are you doing to my friend's little sisters?
And bless them,
Cookie and Cracker are like hanging off of his arm, trying to pull it down. No! He didn't try to hit us. It's okay. He was trying to help.
We're okay. And the reason I bring it up is because this is another point with McGillis, where to apologise, he pulls out a bag of chocolates from Earth and hands them over to the girls, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is like gold." And to that point, Mikazki then always refers to McGillis as the chocolate guy.
Right. He's
and
like,
Galileo is the chocolate guy's friends. Yeah.
I can't be bothered. You're not one of my people, so I can't be bothered to remember your name. Whatever. Yeah. You're the chocolate guy. Got it. There we go. Bingo.
That comes up a couple of times in really good points.
Yes.
But yes, Galeo's kind of freaked out by this. Miguel's like, "Look, dude, we were kind of yes, we didn't try to run them over, but that was our fault. We're sorry."
Yeah.
We almost ran over these two kids. That would have been awful.
Yeah.
Right, Galeo?
He's like, okay, cool, and he turns around and Frank knows Mikasi's I can't say anyone's name tonight.
Elia Villana.
Yeah, the VCR plugs on his back. And is like recognizes them for what they are and starts retching because he's got some issues with severe body modification, so shall we say.
I will say, to be fair, knowing what we know, what we've already heard about the operation needed for the system, I kind of don't blame him for being a bit sick to his stomach to see a kid having had that done to them.
Right.
And considering Mika's had it done 3 times.
Yeah, he's got 3 plugs on his back. Most people only have 1.
There's 1 or 2 that have got 2. Mika's had it 3 times. I'm not sure of the benefit of that, or whether it gives you more I'm
It's
guessing
apparently
it's more connection,
it has to at least make the connection better in some way. Otherwise, they would never bother doing it more times because it costs more money.
Yeah, that's the point.
I'm pretty sure it allows for greater
Degree of control.
greater speed of data transfer.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason I brought that up is just because, again, there's a couple of scenes where, like up in space, for example, where they're fighting, and Mika has his first fight against Galio and McGillis in their mobile suits, and as they're fighting, he's like, "Oh, it's the chocolate guy," and we're like, "How the fuck did you know that?"
You recognize the voice.
It's just like he's really it shows you how observant he is, and it's just a one like random speech line he picks up on, and then from that point onwards, he can like recognizes how he fights and how he moves.
Yep.
Even if it's just a blunt, mobile suit, it's like, oh, it's chocolate guy.
Yeah, there's a moment where they run into him McGillis in disguise, which is hilarious.
The most ridiculous disguise.
It's a ridiculous disguise.
It's an intentionally ridiculous disguise because no one expects anyone to wear a disguise that ridiculous.
But he's got absolutely everyone fooled, and then Mika walks on the con and is like, huh, why is chocolate guy here? Wait, what? Pulls off the mask. Well, can't fool you.
I love Mika's like, wow, you're like much more observant than most people, and Mika's like, really? Never noticed that. He's like, I don't think I am. See, no, Mika, you are.
You really are.
You really are, dude. But yeah, so they end up deciding, well, we'll go over towards Jupiter and try to hook up with Tewas, who were totally not a Yakuza group.
No.
Space Mafia.
But yeah. They're
the only group large enough out there that could oppose Galahorn.
They're like, okay, if they're backing us, Galahorn won't just automatically just go out. Like at least the local Galahorn won't go out of the way to just squish us. Galahorn will have to think twice about it. And en route they run into Nabe, or is it Naze?
Naze.
They run into Naze.
The one guy whose name I can remember and pronounce properly.
Who turns out, they initially are at odds. Naze has the original head of CGS there who wants his ship back. The kids are like, fuck that guy. A fight ensues. Naze's pilots are actually very good, and they outnumber the kids' pilot. The kids, they outnumber Tekkenon's mobile suits.
Mm-hmm.
But Orga comes up with a remarkably insane plan.
Yeah.
And during a high-speed pass through a chaff cloud, drops off a bunch of mobile workers onto Naze's ship, and they board them and take over ship from the inside.
During all this, though, again, this is Naze turns out to be one of the cooler characters as well, because while he's doing this, the boss of the CGS is like, he's ranting and raving about, kill these mongrels, get rid of these dogs, and, they weren't worth the scraps that I fed them, blah, blah, blah. They're not being grateful. And every time he comes out with something like that, Naze looks at him like, wow, you really are a piece of shit, aren't you? And by the time they actually breach the bridge, he's like, okay, guys, nice effort. We'll offer you a deal. I'm like, okay.
So, long story short, yeah, they don't actually kill the boss because Naze basically says, I mean, I won't stop you, but he's not worth that, worth you doing that, dude. He's seeing what Orga's like, and he's like, dude, no, he's so beneath you. Don't. I think
they basically ruin him because he's asked for a favor from the mafia and
he's fucked.
Yeah, he's fucked.
He doesn't. Again, Orga doesn't need to kill him at this point, which is Naze's point. It's like, yeah, dude, don't
sweat it, dude. Don't sweat it.
Yeah, but Naze and his crew basically they're called the Turbines, a subsidiary of Tewas.
Yep.
Who basically become again, without going through the whole thing, that they become like Tekkadan becomes another subsidiary business of Teiwaz, apparently, basically, because they need to protect themselves, and because Naze is the one that sponsored him and put him forward, they refer to each other as brothers.
Well, they are.
There's also not a small amount of affection between the two. They are like droogs.
A little bit. It's more of it is literally the older brother, younger brother sort of situation. Naze is trying to educate.
It's very specifically. I mean, the head of Teiwaz definitely has a thing for sort of the Yakuza trappings.
Yes.
And
you mean the guy with the Scottish name who likes Italian food and wears a kimono in all days? All times of the day. Yeah.
That guy is the definition of multicultural weirdness in science fiction. Not gonna lie, that guy belongs in fucking BattleTech.
But yeah, so I believe if I remember correctly, the whole sort of big brother little brother thing between Naze and Orga is actually part of the.
It's part of their organization. Yeah,
it's a Yakuza thing. Is the thing. They're blood brothers.
Yeah. And they end up going to the Teiwaz like home ship. It's basically a just huge like palatial ship where you'd think that space would be of a premium. The Teiwaz head office is just fucking wide open spaces. It's like
an estate.
Look how powerful I am. Essentially,
look how rich I am.
Yeah,
like he's got an estate like right out of the fucking Godfather.
Yeah.
And they go there. They have the little ceremony. They become part of Teiwa. They get more importantly. They start getting on the favor of the boss. They have Barbatos upgraded.
Well, yeah, because he actually takes a liking to Mika.
Yes.
Yeah, it just one look at Mika and goes, "You are a stone cold killer. I respect and enjoy that."
And it turns out their chief mechanic is a fucking Gundam gearhead.
Yep.
Like he would give his like left leg to work on a Gundam frame, and he's like, "No, there is no bill on this job. I am spending whatever the fuck I want on this job. This thing's going to be fucking pretty."
The other important bit is the scene where he actually sort of realizes exactly how much he respects Mika, the boss does. Is when Kudelia comes in to negotiate with him a bit, and Mika basically gives her a quick sort of line about, talks to her a little bit during the scene about I forget exactly how the phrasing on it, but
she hesitates. The boss offers her a deal. And it's a little bit one-sided, or whichever way she chooses, there's repercussions and bad things and all the rest of it.
Right, and she wants time to think about it.
Yeah, and Mika's like, no, you ain't got time to think about shit like this. It's whatever you choose, you want to do this. You want to. He basically gives her that you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs speech.
Yeah, basically he points out to her that no matter which way she goes, there's going to be blood on her hands, and she's like, And this is where the boss is like, all right, I respect that kid. That kid knows what's up.
And then they all go out and get drunk.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's a minor scene, but it's an important one because it also introduces another crew member that joins with them, Miss Meribit.
Yes.
Who becomes she's a liaison for the Teiwaz group, an older woman, I think late 20s, maybe early 30s at most.
Yep.
And she she first bumps into them as they're all just absolutely fucking wrecked and retching over a railing.
Orga specifically.
Yeah. And some great little scenes with that is like Orga's just barfed into this. He's wiped his mouth up with this handkerchief she's given him, and one of the other guys, I think it's
Mika actually.
No, I think it's either Shino or Eugene because they're the horn dogs, and they're like, even though he's just wiped his mouth, he's like, dude, scent of a woman.
And Orga's like, oh, shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Sense of my fucking stomach contents, assholes.
And they have the little moment, and this is where basically August started to realize that, he's in charge of a family, of a group now. He's got to be more than just. It was fun and exciting, and now the seriousness starts to kick in with him. And he goes back and has a heart to heart. I think is it with Ride?
I think it's with Ride, the little
kid.
redhead.
Yeah. And he's like saying, how he's going to look after all of them and be this, that, and other, and it's a really sweet moment. And then Augur hurls. And yeah, they at that point, now they've got everything together, they set off and start making the journey to Earth. Planning their route through the smuggling routes. The only thing they haven't taken with them is Mika and Barbatos, because Barbatos is still being worked on. It's not finished. But they decide
and the mechanic.
Fine. And the mechanic, yeah. They say it's fine. We'll go without. You can catch up. They've got ways of doing it. So they head off with their ship and the turbines and Nazi and his crew, who, just to point out, are all women, every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Nazi refers to them, all of them, as his wives.
Yeah, he has a literal harem.
He has a literal harem. Now, it does go into it later to describe that, saying that, it's not a literal harem. Oh, okay, it is. There's a core group of maybe a dozen or so that he, does. He's produced kids, quite a few of them. But the vast majority of the crew, yeah, the vast majority of the crew are actually brought together to protect them. They're basically prostitutes and girls like Atra, basically, that would have had nothing else to do and grown up into that sort of life and all. And he's brought them together to give them purpose and protect them and keep them under. And to do so, he's literally registered the entire crew, not just as his crew, but as his wives.
Yeah, basically he's married them to protect them from the legal and illegal repercussions of their previous lives.
Yeah. There's only maybe, I think, 3 or 4 of them that actually refer to him as, something like, or what's her name?
Laughter?
No, Laughter calls him her darling all the time.
Right.
Amida, that's it. Amida. Amida is the large. She's almost as big as he is, if not bigger. But she's thickly built. She's a mech pilot. Big old scar down her chest.
Oh, what's her face? Yeah,
that's Amida. Yeah.
She's almost Hispanic in the way she looks, but she's she's the chief wife, so to speak. She's the one that's always hanging on his shoulder and blah blah blah. But then you've got Laughter, and you've got Azzy and Echo and a few others. But like I say, it's more of a protection thing than it is anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, there's a lot of really awkward. If you went too far into it, they'd get really awkward really fast. But they're handled really well.
Mm.
Yeah. It also sort of the nature of the crew that he's put together. There are certain similarities between the bonds of his crew and the bonds of Tekkadan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is totally not intentional. Nope, not
in any way, shape, or form.
Well, considering the entirety of Tekkadan are all boys as well, because there were no girls. Girls weren't suitable for the CGS work. They had other things they could do.
They've exactly one female member at this point, which is Atra, who's their cook.
And she only joined Tekkadan. She wasn't part of CGS.
Right.
She was a delivery girl that.
Yeah, she joined Tekkadan because she saw that Mikaze and all our other friends are fucking off to space. She's like, but you're all my droogs. What am I going to do?
I'll be your cook. And they're like, well, wait. Atra's cooking is really good. We could use a cook. None of us know how to cook. And she's awesome.
Yeah.
But we don't like her, so...
You do get kind of like a little inner circle of girls as well that are running around on the Tekkadan ship, because you've obviously got Miss Merribit, who acts very motherly towards a lot of them, especially Augur, which she fucking hates.
Yeah.
Which is fucking great. He tries to act the big man so often with her, and she's like, "Go away, little boy." But then you've got you get Atra and Kudelia. To a lesser degree, Fumatan, because she's very formal.
Yeah, well, she fills in as their communications officer because they don't really have one, and she apparently knows this shit for some reason.
Yeah, obviously being a maid, you learn how to operate high-tech communication equipment
And how to hack satellite networks.
Yeah.
All in a day's mating.
But yeah, so they decide to head off through what is essentially a starship graveyard.
It's it's a big area that's sort of wrecked remnants from the Calamity, the Calamity War.
So there are actually Gundam frames in there as well, and all kinds of other stuff, but just completely wrecked beyond use. But the reactors in there are the same ones that I mentioned earlier that cause so much interference and even their own microgravity that it's just not worth. No one goes there. Because there's nothing there.
Because it's fucking dangerous as all fuck off.
And it's dangerous. So, it's a perfect fucking smuggling route.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a great pirate haven.
Yeah! So they head into there and get immediately assaulted by a number of mobile suits. Little stumpy frog-looking things called man roadies. By this point, they've still only now got Akihiro in the Greys as the only mobile suit that can fight off, and they do so well. And they've got obviously the turbines as well. In their suits because they're fairly formidable in their own right. They actually spend a lot of time training the Tekkadan pilots.
They're better than Akihiro at first.
Oh, but easily.
Like they kick his ass and. Both in their initial engagement and in every
training scenario.
Scenario, like they are just fucking aces.
But they do comment that Akihiro is just stubborn as all fuck and does not stop. Like even Laughter trains him for a while and she starts to grow a bit fond of him, and she, they've got a simulator hooked up inside the cockpits of their actual suits, so they're constantly going through simulations and stuff. And the cockpit's open. He's like, "Oh God, damn it! You beat me again. Let's go again." And even Laughter, who is all about, she's the one that's like, "Oh, a battle, that's fun." She's a bit masochistic in that way. But even she's like, "For fuck's sake, you're relentless. I need a break."
And they comment he's quick to pick up. He's a quick study, also.
Yes.
He's also. I don't believe he's not got the Alana Vijana either.
He does.
He does. It's just that they don't have any spare systems to install in the Greys.
Oh right, yeah. So he's learning it the hard way. Yes. Which is weird for him at first, but he's obviously. They do comment he's a strong kid as well. So, I mean, he's built like a fucking bodybuilder.
I got the impression he was actually an adult. It's just he grew up in
No, he's about the same age as he's about the same as
Orga.
As Orga.
Yeah.
Okay.
He very much acts. Doesn't look like a kid, but he very much acts like a kid. He's easy to blush and all that sort of stuff. He doesn't get things and.
Yeah, he's also another one where. Yeah, if you want a shitty life story, look at Akihiro.
Yeah, there are a number of members of Tekkadan who were even lower on the totem pole than Orga and Biscuit and Mika, because those guys actually, they were sort of, they signed up. Akihiro and some of the others are referred to as what is human. They're slaves. I mean,
they're slaves.
Yeah, it's basically from what I've gathered, it's anyone spaceborne. That ends up being captured by pirates or whatever else. They're not registered on Earth or on Mars or any colony.
Yep.
They are literally born in space. They are they're the ones that get born on freighters and all that sort of stuff, and never actually belong anywhere. So they've nowhere to go. Nowhere would claim them. None of the orphanages would have them. So they are literally human debris, and they get treated exactly as that. You know,
they're slaves.
They're slaves. There's no question about that.
Yep.
Yeah, the guys at CGS, they did mention, they do mention from time to time, they do get paid. It's not a lot. They get paid.
Whereas
the human debris
do not.
No, they get food and lodgings. That's it.
Yep. And it's an important bit is like after the coup is successful, Orga basically says, "Yeah, here are your sort of your human debris slave contract things. Guess what? They're yours. Do with it. You are your own people now. You can leave or do what you want. You are free." Which
and to a man, they all say, "Yep, we're staying."
Well, of course we're going to stay. I mean, what else are we? One, what else are we going to do? Two, that was stand up, dude.
Like you could have just kept the contracts and just kept us on that way, and we would have had nothing we could have done about it. But damn. All right, Orga, you definitely are the man. I mean, that's all there is to it. So yeah, they get ambushed by pirates.
Yar. This is where the JoJo villains show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the big thing with the pirates, a few things of actual import happen. Basically, Akihiro and which one is it? It's one of the other one of the mobile frame kids. I forget who. The tech kids.
I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Oh, the one that it's
the blonde,
Takaki.
or one of the blondes.
Yeah,
it's Takaki.
Yeah, Takaki wants to go out with him because he's going out scouting because they're either going through central work as well.
There's a couple of the kids that have been like, I kind of want to be a mobile suit pilot. I know we don't have any mobile suits, but I want to get some combat experience, so I'll go out in a mobile worker.
But and to be fair, if there was nothing bad was going to happen, it's good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get ambushed by pirates, and it does not go well for him.
He doesn't die, thankfully.
No.
He's just
the only reason he doesn't die
good chunk of the rest of this. Yeah.
Because Meribit's on the crew. She knows a little bit of emergency med.
Yeah. So he gets badly injured. Mika shows up in Barbatos in the nick of time, basically.
They introduced the big kit that they wanted to sell for the toys, which is basically a encapsulated booster rocket for the Barbatos to get it where it needs to go.
Yep.
Piloted by the mechanic who doesn't know how to control it and shoots off into space.
Well, it's being run by Mika for most of the time until he disengages, at which point the mechanic's like, "But I don't know how to fly this thing. You'll be okay. We'll get you later." Wah!
Yeah, because the big thing is the pirate group, the Brewers as they're called, also have a Gundam frame.
Yep.
And it's a bigger, fatter frog known as the Gujin, which is possibly one of my favorite looking suits in the whole series.
Yes, the Gujin is... It is all heavy armor. It is a couple of giant chest-mounted cannons that are flush, so you don't really notice them until they fire, and a giant rocket-powered sledgehammer. This is my favorite mech ever built.
It's pretty cool, but the important bits are that most of the most of their regular mobile suit pilots are human debris.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of them, it turns out, is Akihiro's kid brother.
From when they got picked up by, different pirates.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, their parents were killed, they were taken as human debris, and they got sold off to different groups.
Yeah.
And so the reunion is about as tragic as you expect.
Mm.
Yeah, peeps die.
Yeah. But, our heroes do take out the pirates, who were totally not hired by Gillohorn to capture them. No, not at all.
No, not at all.
I will say, the pirates have really weird designs. I've come to the conclusion that they are really into body modification.
That's entirely
I can only
probable.
assume the captain was basically a pig man.
Yeah, and the other guy had literally a forked tongue, and his mouth went all the way up into his cheekbones. So
it was weird.
Really into body mods is all I can think.
That's the only thing I can think of. Also,
because they're otherwise the designs are pretty consistent across the board.
Yeah. So and I will also say, to McGillis's credit, when he hears what the plan is, he's very unhappy about them hiring pirates to do this because God, we are sinking so fucking low.
We hired pirates to do this. Our whole job is to hunt pirates.
Gee, what? Oh.
There is a couple of great scenes. I mean, we've kind of skipped over there because there's actually two fights between the pirates.
We have to.
But we have to, yeah. But again, it shows the sort of fucking ridiculousness that these guys will come up with because they know exactly what's going to happen. They know what's going to be waiting for them. They know that the pirates are going to ambush them at a certain point because they can't go through this debris field. Except they do.
Yeah, because Eugene's a maniac.
Yes.
Because Eugene is a fucking maniac. And they do make the comment themselves, but it's such a great line that it's like the turbine ship it's called the Hammerhead for obvious reasons. And they prove it here.
Yeah.
Because they drive this fucking other ship straight into a fucking rock.
Yeah.
And they do pick up the Gusion. They decide they take one look at it, and they're like, that is a stupendous amount of armor. That is actually too much armor. We need to strip off some of this armor, which had me weeping.
the other part of it is it's like this because of the way the fight went. This is actually the mech that killed Akihiro's brother.
Right.
The pilot of it was expecting Akihiro's brother to hold Barbatos in place and just get smashed by him. But
it wasn't Barbatos. It was Akihiro.
Oh, yeah. Akihiro. Sorry, yeah. And he pushed him loose and just got smashed himself.
And got hit by a rocket pirate sledgehammer.
Yeah. Now, turns out when Mika actually went in and gutted the guy and actually literally split him in two.
Yeah.
He didn't manage to do much damage to the actual Gundam. The frame was recoverable and everything else. So they recovered the frame, but they're like, well, it's going to sell for a shit ton. Are you sure you want to sell it? Yeah, we can't keep the suit that killed Akihiro's brother. Akihiro walks in. Can I have that?
They're like, wait, what?
But it killed your brother. It's like, yeah, and the best way to honor him is to take that suit and murder everything that would have hurt him in his life. Okay, we can respect that.
So they hand it over to the turbines because they've got the best and the most adept at actually repairing mechs. Strip off all the armor, and a little bit later we see it again.
They don't strip off all the armor. They strip off a good chunk of the armor.
A good chunk of it, and repurpose a lot of it.
Yes.
Yeah, like the back
shield.
plate actually becomes their shield.
Yeah.
One of the jobs that they are one of the things that the Tekkenon's given is to deliver this cargo.
Yeah, Teiwaz gives them a little bit of a by the way kind of job. While you're on the way to Earth. So
take this cargo to one of the orbital colonies.
Yeah.
Which, turns out is being sent there by the, Credelia's sponsor. And they meet the workers on the colony, and it's totally not a load of weapons, because it's a totally load of weapons to start the revolution.
It's it's basically
there's some significant labor disputes on these colonies.
Yes.
Yeah. Turns out the colonies have it just as well, not just as bad, but more or less what it's like on Mars. The colonies are getting shafted as well, and
yep.
the further we go in, Cordelia starts to realize that this is her little crusade is a lot bigger than just Mars.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as she's going, she's meeting all these people, seeing all this shit going on. And because they've just arrived with weapons, the Tekkenon are very quick to say, get the fucking ship out of here. We don't want our logo anywhere near this weapon shipment. So the guys that delivered it, which is basically the main bunch, forgotten the names now.
It's
Orga, Biscuit. No, sorry, Biscuit's gone elsewhere.
It's Orga. I don't think it's Eugene. It's Shino.
Olga, Shino, I think
Akihito,
Takaki, maybe Akihiro.
I forget.
No, Akihiro's on the turbine ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway,
Akihiro's overseeing the.
Oh, and Miss Meribit, she's
rebuild. Yeah,
Meribit's
Miss
there
Meribit,
also.
that's it. Yeah. Akihiro's overseeing the redesign of Gustian because it's going to be his mech. They want his input.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kudelia, Mikazuki, Biscuit, Atra, and Fumitan have all gone to the shopping district on a different satellite, different colony. Which is bad news because apparently Kudelia was supposed to be there by absolutely no coincidence or ulterior means.
Right. Cadelia is basically like, okay, I've been sleeping in this dress I've got. Can I please go buy some new clothes? Astra's like, I'd love to go shopping. I'll buy you clothes. Okay. Orga's like, Mika, you should go with them to make sure they don't end up dead. And Biscuit's like, I actually have a brother working in the corporations over there. You mind if I tag along and see if I can't get a hold of him? Yeah, okay.
Orga's like, okay, 2 of my people will be with them. That'll be a big help.
That's
It'll
even
be
better.
Mika and the smart one.
Mika and someone to hold Mika's leash.
This is a good.
And as it's been progressing, we've noticed that, and again, it's kind of obvious. We've been hinting it all the way through, but Fumitan doesn't look exactly happy about this decision to deviate from the plan, because Fumitan's been working for
Nobliss
the entire time, and Nobliss has basically decided that she's served a purpose, and Kudelia needs to be.
Nobliss is trying to start a revolution so that he can profit from it, and Kudelia dying at the forefront when the revolution starts would be a perfect martyr symbol.
Yes.
Yep.
And so she's just a kid. She's not going to be more useful than she can't possibly be more useful than as a martyr.
Mm. And Fumitan, basically, her job is to get her into the firing line at this point.
Right. Which she's not happy about.
Yeah.
Fumitan has conflicted feelings about Kudelia.
Yeah, she's very much a fucking idealistic princess. I'll show you. But she's so good at being an idealistic princess, and she doesn't ever get beaten down, but they're just so irritating.
See, I will show you the realities. It will crush that idealistic spirit in you. It just ignited your idealistic spirit. What the fuck? It made you more passionate about your idea. What the hell?
It is not how it is supposed to work.
Why are you not becoming cynical? That's one of the things I love about Kudelia is that she starts out very naive, and she sees how the real world works and how all the shit and all the bad stuff, and she learns a lot and matures, but doesn't become cynical.
Yes.
She gets a bit jaded, but not cynical. Not to the level of being cynical.
She becomes a realist.
Mm-hmm.
She goes from an idealist to a realist.
With ideals.
But never forgets her ideals.
Yeah. So, long story short, a lot of stuff happens. The revolution starts. Gilhorn basically tries to leverage it so they can go in and clear out the revolutionaries. That's their plan.
Yeah, it was so sloppily done because it's just it's an armed protest. But they're being very careful not to fire the weapons. It's just showing, yes, we have weapons to defend ourselves because Gjallarhorn's right over there with their own weapons.
Yeah.
And then Gjallarhorn's like, and set off those shape charges. What shape charges? The one we stuck on the government building. Why are we doing that? So we have an excuse to shoot all the fucking revolutionaries. Oh, okay.
It also turns out that Nobliss has set them up as well. So the guns, the weapons that they've been delivered are all fucking duds.
Well,
they're not.
No, those aren't the duds. It's when they go to storm to take all the mobile suits and all the stuff all the stuff
right.
that's been lying around. They get access to it very easily, and they're all loaded and pre-fueled, and totally not sabotaged by Gillahorn.
Yeah, because Gillahorn saw the writing on the wall and was like, yeah, we are totally going to make sure this revolution happens so we can kill all the dissidents.
Yeah, they've basically given them enough fuel to get out of the hangar and then start drifting in space.
So Cadelia's supposed to have been killed. Their sniper set up to shoot her in the middle of the crowds during the whole protests, which is, what Nobles' plan is. She'll die martyred there, it'll ignite everything, it'll be great. And Fumatan does finally, takes the bullet for her, eventually. And dies, and Cadelia has a bit of a blue screen of death moment there. Nobilis has managed to turn Cadelia, to not turn her into a martyr, but rather into an actual honest-to-God revolutionary.
Yeah. Or she was someone who wanted to work within the system to reform it and everything. Now she's like, no, I'm going to burn what doesn't work.
Yeah. This is also the point, while this has been going on, this is also the point where McGillis has shown up in his disguise and decided to become a patron of her as well. And offered her more assistance.
It's a ridiculous disguise, but it so fits because it's so clearly like a Gundam
yes.
guy, because he's got the ornate gold mask and the big floofy hair, and it looks ridiculous because Ironblood's been so grounded at this point, but he is so totally an 80s Gundam villain.
Yes.
Yeah. But then,
so the audience doesn't really question it. Well, we did, but...
and then on top of that, this is where we have Biscuit going to meet his brother, who he hasn't seen in like a decade.
Yeah.
Because obviously his brother's going to help him out, right? He's like...
Yeah, and his brother used to be like part of the labor unions.
Yeah. Oh, and he still is. He's working for the labor unions. Cool. Right.
Well, no, he's management now.
Yeah.
He's management now.
He's figured out that the best way to break the labor is if they had a really strong bargaining chip, like Cordelia Ina Bernstein.
Now, to be fair to his brother, he's doing this so that the Gillard won't crack down on the unions and kill them all.
He's doing it from the best of intentions, but he completely backstabs.
Dude's still management in a labor dispute.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying to give him a tiny bit of credit.
Yes, I will give him some credit. He is misguided, but he is absolutely on the wrong side and doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yes,
but he screws over Biscuit in the meantime and completely misidentifies Atra as Cordelia, which is where she gets beat down.
By Gallahorn thugs, not by him. To be fair, he's not cool with it, but he can't exactly argue with it.
Yep.
There is a great scene though where it's just after Cordelia gets back from the issue there, and they say, where's Atra and Biscuit? Oh, they went to meet his brother, and words got out somehow that. I think they're advertising they've captured Cordelia, and Cordelia's like there. She's like, no, it's not me.
It's not
They're
me.
like, fuck.
Oh fuck. And
that means no one's holding. That means no one's holding Mika's leash.
And Mika is straight out that door.
All right, Mika, Mika, he's gone after them.
Oh god. He's like, I feel so sorry for those guards. Next thing you see, Mika's kicking open the door. There's no bodies. It's just like, okay.
No, you see the feet of one body.
Apparently, he hasn't bumped into anybody on the way in. He's like looking at. He's like he draws a gun on the first thing moving. It's Biscuit, and luckily he doesn't fire. And he's like looking him over, and sees Atra in a corner with the bruises and all the rest of it. And he's like, "Did these guys do that to you?" And she goes, "Yeah." Without even a second thought, he just turns around, stands up as if he's going to walk out that door, and kicks her fucking shit. And Atra's like, "No.
We have to get out first."
Yes.
We don't have time for that, Mika. He's like, okay.
Those two guards took the best time piss break in the history of ever.
Yes. They would have been so dead otherwise.
But yeah, they escape. They get out. Biscuit's brother calling after him all the time, saying, "I'm sorry, I was doing it for the right reasons, blah blah blah," and they're like, "Fuck you."
Well, Biscuit's like, I know, but I have to leave because you made it so I can't stay.
Yep.
But yeah, they've spent the time getting a bit of a better idea of what's going on in the colonies as well as Earth, and that's where they head next. With a fucking ridiculous plan of actually how to get onto Earth, because they still have to get through the Galahorn blockade.
Right.
The Planetary Defense Force, captained by the most ridiculous of women.
Oh, Carta.
Carter Issue. The Issue family being another of the great families of Galahorn.
Yeah, the 7 stars. They're the first of the 7 stars.
Yes. Yep. So McGillis, Galileo, and Carter grew up together quite, you know, they were...
They're very close. And
yeah.
Issue's got a thing for McGillis and always has.
Carta is such a tsundere for McGillis.
She absolutely is.
She is classic tsundere.
If we describe the earlier Galahorn captain as Rimmer for being an asshole, Carter is all of Rimmer's pomposity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like her crew have to mimic her like poses when she declares an order, and she even corrects one of them for being like a half second too late.
Yep.
She wasn't looking at him; she just knew. Every single member of her crew are all white-skinned, blonde-haired Aryan boys, apart from the one guy that's got slightly dirty blonde hair. But I'm guessing she's okay with that. She refers to them all as her precious subordinates, and they all pilot matching mobile suits, and you know everything's the same. They all did. Oh, it's so fucking ridiculous.
They're totally her backup combat dancers.
It becomes clear though that these, like I say, they're the Planetary Defense Force. It's a token position. They never have to do anything other than rattle a saber every now and again. And Tekkadan comes at them full speed. They pick up Akihiro and the... I'm skipping over a bit here. They decide to get off of the colonies.
Yep.
By joining in with the revolution.
Yes. This is an important bit, yeah.
It is an important bit. So they're trying to get off, and they're like, well, what can we do? And they notice a news crew. And the news crew notice them, or rather notice Cordelia. And they're like, hey, can we have an interview? And the Augur's like, no, we don't have time for this shit. Go away. No, seriously, can we just want 10 minutes of your time. Mika's like, he said no, fuck off.
And then Cordelia's like, wait a minute.
Biscuit's in Augur's ear going, they have a launch. Oh.
Well, this is while Cordelia is basically saying, yeah, I would like to why do you want to talk to me? I do, there's things I'd like to say to everybody, but yeah, they have a launch.
So they do a deal, they get them back to their ship.
Yep.
As long as Cordelia can address the entire, everything basically, all channels, all broadcasts, all the time.
Yep.
We're introduced to the rebake, which is the name of the upgraded Gujin.
The Gujin rebake, yeah.
The Gujin rebake, where Akihiro shows up, and it's fucking ridiculous with its giant axe, halberd, and shield.
That is a combo that I adore, by the way.
And yeah, the Barbatos, the Gujin, and the newly repainted Ryusei Go, which is basically the greys in a red paint job.
It is not red, it is pink. It is pink.
It's pink.
It's
with eyes.
Pink.
Painted eyes on it as well.
Yeah.
It's pink. But yeah, Shino is now a pilot. And it's those three against the entirety of the Galahorn fleet. And it's about to go really badly for them until Cordelia gets on the airwaves.
Yep.
And she starts explaining what's going on. And the gung-ho captain, I think it's actually Rimmer that's followed them all the way back.
It's not.
And it's not, is it not?
No.
Oh, it's the Arianhod. It's the main fleet. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's their big war fleet. And they're like, okay, open fire on that ship and destroy that signal. And all of a sudden, there's a message coming through from command saying, whatever you do not shoot that ship. Not while she's saying shit like this. Everyone can see it. She'd be a fucking martyr.
There's no way to spin this.
No, do not shoot that ship. And they're all like,
And this,
they get
by
to
the
go
way,
on their way.
this is, by the way, so yeah, Cordelia has developed a thing for Mika, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
This is where Mika sort of goes, holy shit, she's vastly more impressive than I thought she was.
She stopped the entire fleet with her voice. That's
Damn.
basically what he says.
Yeah.
That's in fact exactly what he says.
And he's like, damn, okay, that was actually kind of hot.
Well, up to this point, you see, this is the thing. So, the whole situation with Naze and the women, okay, and the women of his crew. Atra's kind of got an idea that that's how things work.
No, it's not that how things work, it's how things can work.
Yes. So she's all of a sudden started like. Both girls have got a bit of a crush on Mikazuki. Not as overt with Kudelia, but Atra definitely thinks that Mika would be more interested in her because she's older.
Well, Atra is also likes Kudelia, and
she likes Kudelia, yeah.
she can read the writing on the wall. She also likes him.
Yes. And Kudelia and Atra starts like this weird plan of trying to organize them into this three-way marriage. Which
She thinks it's the best idea ever. I get what I want, she gets what she wants, Mika gets what he wants, everyone's happy. Why don't more people do it this way?
But it starts off really weirdly enough, like when he gets injured at one point, like Atra hugs him. He's like, okay, this is good. Well, you're supposed to hug, you're supposed to comfort people when they cry and all the rest of it. Oh, okay. A little bit later on, Cadelia's crying over the choices that she's had to make, and he just, because it's zero gravity, he has to float up a bit and hugs her head. It's like, what? What are you doing?
Comforting you or something?
Comforting you.
I was told this is what you're supposed to do when someone I care about is crying, so this is what I'm doing.
And at one point, he actually does kiss her.
Yep.
She leans in, like almost imperceptibly, and then stops, and then thinks about it, and he kisses her.
Right.
And she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I don't know.
I don't know.
Seemed
I thought
like
you
the
were
thing
really
to do.
cute. Thought you wanted to kiss. So
Yeah, seemed like the right thing. He never seems bothered about anything.
well, no, because he doesn't show emotion.
He's a broken man.
Yeah.
He really is.
He's not firing on full cylinders.
But again, this is the thing. So Atra has no problem with any of this. This is all part of her plan.
Yeah.
It's like, excellent, they'll get together, and then I'll join in, and everyone will be happy. It'll be awesome. We'll pilot giant robots forever.
Yeah. So yeah, so at any rate, they eventually they do have their they have their insane confrontation with Carta and her fleet.
Carter and her fleet, with fucking Eugene being a fucking maniac again.
Yeah. But they do manage to get and Gaelo and Ein do confront them in space, and they fight, and basically, Gaelo and Mika are dueling. Gaelo and his family's Gundam.
Yeah, he pulled out of storage.
No, it's not the Vidar. That's what it becomes later on. It's the I forget what it's called now.
It's the horsey one.
Yeah,
It's a horsey Gundam that doesn't look stupid, which is quite the achievement.
I forget the name of it. It'll come back to me.
Whatever. That's not that important right now.
No.
At any rate, basically they're fighting. Mika pulls yet another bullshit Mika move and gets the upper hand. Is about to take him out when Ein's like, "Oh fuck no," and basically intercepts him and basically sacrifices himself to save Gaelo.
Yeah. Kimaris,
like,
that's it. It's the Kimaris.
Ah, okay, fine. Meanwhile, they're sort of, the thing is that they're pulling a trick to get like on their shuttle into atmosphere down to Earth, and Ian has figured this out because he's from Mars. He knows how he's seen this trick done before. Like, yeah, no one in the Space Defense Fleet saw this coming. Ian did.
Mm.
So, which gave them a chance to catch them. It doesn't work. One of Carta's men actually tries to basically sacrifice himself to try to stop Mika, to at least say, yeah, well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to make sure Barbados burns up on re-entry.
Yes,
because
they're all basically on a shuttle that's managed to hit re-entry and starts going down, and Mika's left behind.
Right. So so the two of Akihiro and God, I can't remember his name ever. Shino. Their Gundams are in the back of the shuttle, so they're taking advantage of its heat shielding, which is totally how this would work. Totally.
Yep.
And they're like, Mika's got to get here before it gets too deep, otherwise he'll burn up on re-entry. And everyone on board's freaking out because Mika's not there yet. And damn it, they pull a beautiful trick moment on us.
Yeah,
well, they hit atmosphere, and
yep.
they're in the sky, and they're looking around like, well, we're through the atmosphere. He hasn't made it, and they see this red burning up debris just coming through the atmosphere. They're all like, oh my god!
And they show Atra look out the window with tears in her eyes. It cuts away to see this ragged mech joint flapping in the atmosphere, and it cuts back to her, and she's got this big grin on her face.
Yeah, she just this beautiful smile just sort of creeps across her face. It's adorable, honestly.
And they cut back, and Mika is surfing on a fucking graze through the atmosphere because it's
he's riding that corpse to the ground.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's great. I don't care if it doesn't work. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I have no issues with it. I'm just, I just had to comment. At any rate, they make it down to Earth, and they've got to get to and they make it to their meeting with the former Prime Minister of
the Oceanic Federation, I believe.
Yeah, or whatever. That's not. It starts with an A.
Oh, Arbrow.
Arbrow, yeah.
Arbrow.
And he's entirely sympathetic to her to Dahlia's cause and all this stuff, and he'd love to help them more, but because they're in the Oceanic Federation,
right?
And Gilhorn can't really come there without their permission. And Dahlia's like, so how about this deal thing? And he's like, I love the deal. I think it's a great idea. I'm totally in favor of it. I can't do anything about it because I was deposed. I'm currently in exile.
Yeah, Mr. Mac and I.
And she's like, wait, was this whole trip a waste? And he's like, well...
This is about the time where I came out with... Hang on. He's like an aging politician with connections. There's no fucking way he doesn't have power.
And it turns out there's an election about to go on. And he's like, if you guys can get me back to the Capitol in time, to the Parliament building in time for the election, I can almost guarantee you I'll win re-election.
So the response is, so Orga's like, I need to talk it over with my boys. We did our job, and I'm not sure if we're ready to take on another one. Let me talk to our boys.
Yeah.
Now the majority of them are all cool with it because it's still okay. They've got her to Earth, but they're all like really fond of Cordelia at that point. I mean, she's been helping out. She's been like their fucking school teacher on the way down.
And she helps out Atra in the kitchen,
right? And in the kitchen, and she's part of the crew.
Yeah, as far as they're concerned, she's one of them at this point.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Orga's concerned, she is.
Yeah, Orga's big problem is we have lost a lot of people and taken a lot of damage getting this far.
We need downtime.
We need downtime. But at the same time, if we go back to Mars now, we'll still be small fries. We'll still get our shit kicked in by everyone else. We'll still be just taken advantage of. so I think we should do it. And Biscuit's like, nope, we need to go home. He's like, really? No, it's you're being too ambitious. You're grabbing for too much at once. We need to consolidate and go home. That's not really what you're. Wait a minute, what's wrong? And we find out Biscuit's brother, the guy in management, committed suicide and told Biscuit to like basically drop everything and look after his sisters.
Yeah.
And Biscuit's internalizing a lot of that as being his fault and not wanting it any more shit to happen to Tekkadan, to the point where he's willing to quit over this. So he and Orga get in a big fight over it, and yeah. And then Carter decides to solve the problem by showing up and being a big giant bitch.
Yes.
I'm going to say this is probably one of the most entertaining fights and probably the most important one.
Yeah.
In the show. So yeah, they launch a huge a naval invasion, shelling the island that they're currently on, and the Tekkadan guys are there, and also the Turbines guys are there. They're a couple.
It's Laughter
Laughter and Echo.
And Echo, yeah.
And Azzy as well. I think there are three of them.
Yeah, three of them. Yeah, they're there.
They've shown up. They've repurposed their suits so they don't look like what they normally think. They
don't look like the turbine suits.
Right.
They look like something different because of the armor they put on them. But they're still on the beach and they're like, wow, they're firing all these like really high caliber howitzers against mobile suits. What the fuck are they doing? Sidestep, boom. Sidestep, boom. Fires back, sinking ship. And they
really like to waste ammo.
Yeah. And they're watching, Akihiro showing up with the remake, and he's got like a howitzer under each arm. Takes a shot, misses wide. Like, why aren't you using the sight properly? You need to. And he's like, it's okay, I've got this. Re-aims on the fly using the Alaya Vinana. Takes another shot, and it's a dead hit. And they're like, wow, he corrected that just on his instincts.
Yeah, they explained it was like you're firing an atmosphere. You need to account for the curvature of the Earth and wind speed and all that other stuff. He's like, fuck that, point and click.
Well, no, he's like, I'm not sure. He's like, there's too much information. Mika's like, dude, did you feel the sensation feedback from the VR the AV system? Yeah, use that. And he's like, oh, all right, you need flat. And they're like, God damn, that's just unfair.
Cheating is what that is.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they know that they're coming down, so they're making a move out, and they've had the teams in the mobile workers like rigging the mansion that they're at to. They've done everything they can to screw over Galahorn at this point.
Yep.
And as the fight gets further and further into it, Carter and her troopers all land on the beach, on the runway, and it's a fucking fantastic fucking scene where Carter's there at the head of the V. They're all posing Power Ranger style. They all like swishing the swords through the air, pulling poses, and then strike the final pose. Bang!
Thud.
When we get shot in the
head. I'm allowed to shoot now, right?
Akihiro's like, what? Was I allowed to shoot? And Mika's like, yeah. I don't know.
All right then.
Carter goes ballistic. Like, how dare you? You've no sense of honor or the beauty of combat. So they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? They all charge in their formation. The Barbatos charges back. He's like, okay, that's a pretty formation. Between the legs, over you go. And they proceed to just beat the crap out of these suits because they've tried to engage a line of Viana equipped Gundams in melee.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for making our job easier.
Yeah, Mika's not got the mace anymore. It got left in space, so he's just picked up a random piece of mining equipment that is now his weapon. It's just large, blunt, and heavy.
I love this piece of mining equipment. It is a crab claw chainsaw mace.
Basically, yeah, it opens up so it can grip things, and it's also got a chainsaw blade in
It's
the
got
grip.
a rock grinder inside, so yeah.
Yeah.
So he actually clamps on one suit's arm at some point and saws it off. It's just like, it's like, oh my.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Now, while this has all been going off, Augur and Biscuit, they've kind of made up for the most part.
No, they've made up basically.
Biscuit's driving. Augur's, popped
the
out the back.
The important bit is that
they
they agree they have to talk about whether Biscuit's going to stick with them or not after they get off the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll have that talk later.
Yeah, totally.
That's not death flag waving at all.
Nope, not at all.
Dude, fucking raise your flag. But yeah, while this has been going on, Augur's popped out the back of a mobile worker. Biscuit's driving, and Carter sees him and realizes he's the one organizing all the shit. So breaks free and dashes at them. And managed to Biscuit basically tells Augur to unhook his safety belt. He does so, pulls a hard turn. Augur goes flying. Carter carries on after the worker, takes a slash with a sword, and just wrecks it into shards. So Mika goes ballistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Carta is freaking out because her precious subordinates have been killed by these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Mika sees one of his two best friends. Like, one of his best friends, Carter's trying to kill his two best friends, basically, at this point. No.
The next thing you see is the crab claw just close around around her suit's head.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she gets out alive. I am not actually sure how she got more than 5 yards away from Mika.
I think we agreed that he was distracted by the fact that he saw Orga going up to Biscuit, and Biscuit was clearly dying. So he's like, "Wait, what? Biscuit's actually dying?" Yeah. Processing. Must go back to killing. Oh, the fuckers drug her.
Bitch ran off.
Oh, yeah. And Biscuit dies.
Yep.
And it is actually. We've seen a lot of deaths in the anime, in the stuff we've watched, but if they haven't built Biscuit up to be just this actually hits you.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was such a good character.
Yep.
And the relationship between not just how he affects himself, how he affects the characters around him. That was just yeah.
Yeah. Tekkadan doesn't take it well.
No,
Tekkadan goes on a lunatic revenge kick.
I mean, they even make a mention. They realize a couple of during the recovery. It's like, oh god, who's going to tell his sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Maribet's sitting going, "Oh my god, no, guys, you can't. You can't be doing this way." And the engineer dude's like, "Look, I know what's wrong. I think deep down they know what's wrong, but it's the only way they can deal with it right now."
But the plan is, the job is to get them to get Mac and I to the capital, which is in Edmonton.
Yep.
In Canada. But if they get to take bloody revenge on Galahorn along the way,
awesome.
They're totally down with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they get to the mainland. They get to the Canadian coast. Board a train, which is a fucking badass train, by the way. Dual rail.
It's actually two trains that just pulling. It's two trains pulling a single set of cargo trains, which are gigantic to carry more.
Yep.
Yeah. And as they're going along, they have to hit the brakes because something's in the tracks ahead of them.
It's Carta.
And it's Carter and her crew who, without again skipping over a bit, but who have been perfectly manipulated to actually be angry enough to go after them by McGillis.
Yep.
Yes.
Also, at this time, while this is all going on, McGillis has pointed out to Gaello that the only real way to save Ein's life is to basically build him into a Gundam.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't reveal it fully, but they basically say, yeah, if you want to save his life, the only way to save him is the Alaya Vijana.
They take that a step further.
Well, he points out that what these kids have isn't the true form of Alaya Vijana, and he's right. Not the ultimate evolution of it. Yee.
The ultimate evolution of it is full-on Space Marine Dreadnought treatment.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. They show a cutaway of it at one point, and yeah, his arms and legs have both been amputated. He's a stump and a brain. That's about it.
Yeah. So back to Carter on the tracks.
Well, it's her and her two remaining subordinates,
right,
in brand new mechs, with long, ostentatious, flowing cloaks. This is basically saying, you shall go no further. We will give you 30 minutes to prepare. We will have a 3-on-3 mobile suit. Wait, what's Barbatos doing?
Yeah, she's challenged them to a 3-on-3 duel. Mika's having none of this.
Yes.
Mika immediately charges, because they're standing like on the shoulder of the mech.
The best thing about it is they've gotten out of their mechs to like pomp and display and all the rest of it. And Mika gets them before they're able to get back in.
Yeah.
Mika swats one of her wingman with the giant mining mace. And you see the mech go flying. You see the pilot go whee! Squint, little fountain of blood on the horizon.
Yeah. You only see the pilot. You see a red splotch flying.
Yes. Yeah, they're on a snowfield, so you just see a little over in the corner. It's like, oh!
Yeah, he did. He died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the other
Mika
two suits don't
the...
have a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have a chance to get out. Mika immediately turns around and crushes the next guy. Just his cockpit goes flat.
Yeah.
And
then he rounds on Carter, who's like, "Fine, I will challenge you to single." Oh, fuck.
Meanwhile, all the kids and everyone attacking off of the train to watch. And Miss Merribit's like, "You guys can't watch this. This is fucked up. Go back inside." No, we have to watch this. This is Biscuit's vengeance. We are watching this.
And she's like, "Oh my god!" Like you can see her heart breaking.
Yeah.
Because she's very worried. These are kids. This should not be what's happening to kids.
Yeah.
She is completely right.
Yeah, she's completely right. And the thing is, this is the first time she's probably seen that this is what's been happening to kids for a long time.
Yes.
Under the current system. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, at any rate, yeah. Gaello shows up in the nick of time to basically get Carta's body out of there.
Yeah.
He grabs her. He flies in, knocks Mika away, grabs the wreck of her mobile suit, and runs the fuck away.
Yeah.
As she's dying, as she's in her thing, dying in his arms, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And of course, she's in bad enough shape. She thinks it's McGillis.
Yeah, she's like going on about how she's happy to die in his arms, in McGillis's arms, and all this sort of stuff. And Galio's been fucking torn apart.
He's desperately trying not to, just break down in just tears, just fountains of tears. But he's got to keep himself sharp enough to get the hell out of there alive. Maybe he might be.
There's an angry Mika on his tail.
He's like, I gotta keep it together so I can get us out of here. There's a chance I can save her. Apparently not. Fuck.
Yeah, she's dead.
Yeah. So they get to Edmonton.
It's a really weird episode, this one, at this point, because we all thought we'd skipped an episode.
I actually didn't.
Well,
I picked up on they were starting off in media res.
Because it was straight in, yeah. So basically, Meribit's already like in a triage center overlooking children in various states of wounding.
Yeah.
And it turns out that Galahorn has set up a perimeter to stop them getting into the city, and they're literally, it's trench warfare basically, just over a bridge.
They can't bring their mobile suits in the city because the Ahab reactors will fuck the city's systems over.
Which is
That's
huge.
the last thing you want to do when you're trying to get your guy elected.
Yes.
Yes. And on top of that, Galahorn are attacking their base from the rear
with their mobile suits. So they're deploying their mobile suits back there. So yeah, it's not going well. But they are freaking the defensive people the hell out with their intensity of their attacks. They're just like, the fuck are these kids doing? They don't give up. So eventually, Orga comes up with a plan.
It's a shit plan.
It's a shit plan. He knows it's a shit plan.
But it's the only plan.
Yeah. It's like, okay, most of your, like, okay, Meribit, you take the wounded and get the fuck out. The rest of you, a small squad of us are going to go hide over here. You guys basically are a decoy. You're going to go drive right up the bridge, strap as much armor to your mobile frames as you can, mobile workers as you can, and just, distract them long enough so that we can actually get in a position and make a dash for it. And get him to the Parliament. Mika, mobile suit guys, go attack their mobile suit base. Just hit them hard right the fuck now. Meribit freaks out about this, but again, like, it's literally the only plan that could possibly do any, like...
Yeah.
So, yeah, So the attack, the mobile suits attack, and it's going well for a while. And then Gaelo shows up, and to basically interfere with Barbatos, because he's got to settle things with Mika. And then another Gundam shows up. It's the one that Ein's been put into. Oh my!
And it's a big bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've mentioned before that the AV system gives the kids a big advantage in melee combat because their reaction time is so much better. Yeah, this is like that +1.
Yeah.
And he quite handily tears through the Teiwaz mechs because they don't have the Ally of Honor.
And he kicks Shino's ass.
And yeah, Shino gets torn up pretty badly too.
And he basically realizes he actually figures out what's going on, and goes off to. He basically just rockets the fuck off to the city to go stop. Because at this point, Orga and their people actually do get the distraction works, and they actually are able to get across the river.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because Eugene shows up with reinforcements.
Yeah, Eugene shows up with the rescued human debris from the pirates.
Right.
They finally got trained up and willing to work.
Yep. And so they show up to that last extra push is what gets them through. And so Ein goes off to stop them in the city, which Gael's not happy about because Gundam going, Ahab reactor to city, not a good thing, but he's not going to stop him. He keeps tying up Barbatos. At which point, Michaelis shows up in his Gundam, which has shown up before to interfere. He's shown up before to interfere with.
Once or twice, yeah.
To bail Tekadon out. Bring up Mika to go chase after Ein. And this is where McGillis basically, eventually he basically reveals what's going on to Gaelo, and yeah,
he Oscar Gaelo.
he kills Gaelo, yeah, because he basically tells me, I'm. Yeah, he is definitely serving a purpose. What he is going to terrify the living shit out of everybody, and will point out, and it was done by Gillahorn, and it will point out exactly how corrupt Gillahorn is. And Tekkadan, if they can stop him and take him down, will be the heroes I need them to be to help, basically start my whole revolution thing. And Gael's like, wait, you've played me. You played Carta. You played us all.
Yep.
Yep.
That's pretty much his reaction. Is like, yep.
And they fight, and McGillis kills him. And the entire conversation is, the thing I like most about McGillis in this is, yeah, he's a bastard. He's a magnificent bastard. He is completely aware of that he is a terrible person and admits it. He's not happy that he has to be a terrible person to do this.
Well, this is the thing. So at this point, you finally got the whole picture of what he is. So he realized, and basically, it's just like these. This is why I think he had a lot of respect for Tekkadan, because he was in their exact situation.
Yep.
He was an orphan.
Yep.
But he was an orphan on Earth, and I've forgotten his name now. The head of the Farid family basically adopted him with the sole purpose of marrying him off to the Baldwins to unify the families.
Yep.
For political gain. They had him, associated with Carter for political gain.
Yep.
It was just a happy coincidence that he also made friends with Galio. This guy, the Farid head, has been behind most of the plot.
Yep.
Through this.
And he is a corrupt, asinine, he is awful, but he's pretty smart.
You just have to look at his office to realize that. It's literally just this huge arena of a room with nothing but a desk in it.
And his chair, yeah.
And his chair. It makes everyone else look really exposed. It's this huge, like, awesome view of the ocean through a window, which would, if you're stood looking at him, perfectly silhouette him and make him look bigger.
Yep.
It's such a fucking power trip office.
The funny thing is, I remember discussing it with you guys and mentioning that, like, this office would infuriate me.
Oh, yeah.
But
it would not cow me in any way.
No, but this is the thing. You're thinking of it from the perspective of, say, a McGillis. Not from the rank and file that would be impressed by that kind of shit. And basically what's happened is, as time's gone on, McGillis has basically worked out what's going on and what the plan is and everything else, and thought, yeah, that's actually a good idea. I'll use it.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, unsurprisingly, Mika eventually beats Ein in a pretty fucking epic fight.
He does at a risk. So basically, as he's going, he realizes what's going on. So he realizes that Ein is this much more powerful because he has fully integrated with the ally of Inanna. So and you see this every now and again. He has a habit of talking to Barbatos because there is a direct link to them. Yep. Barbatos does have a computer, not an AI as such. It's not a sophisticated brain, but it has, functions and that sort of thing. And he just says to it, "Okay, Barbatos, give me what you've got." And it does, and his nose starts bleeding.
His eye starts bleeding.
His eye starts bleeding, and he's like, "No, that's not enough. I said, give me all you've got." And there's another little bit they've been doing. Mika's already been picking. Duani in the chat just said it's basically similar to the Zero system from Gundam Wing. But yeah, basically, throughout the show, Mika's been using the big, blunt, heavy objects, and always not bothering picking up the sword because he doesn't like the sword. He doesn't know how it works because it's all about cutting angles and blah blah blah, rather than just hitting something really hard.
Yeah.
And this time he pulls it out, turns around, and with a move quicker than anything can react, cuts off Iron's arm. It's like, I figured out how this works.
Yeah.
And then just dismantles the Grey's Iron. It's... Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. They get the dude to the parliament. He wins the election. I love the fact that when they get there, he declines to give his speech. He has Cordelia give her the speech she wants to give.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. He's like, why would I speak? If I want to get myself elected, I'm going to let her speak.
And she gives this great speech and completely crushes Fareed's plans. And that's roughly the end. I mean, we have a little bit of a coda. We, see that Mika has lost the use of his left arm.
Yeah. This is again, not to spoil, but it's something that comes along that he does mention himself, and it is explored in the second season. Pushing himself through the eye of Iana has basically left him... His left arm and his left eye don't work. No, his right arm and right eye don't work.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And they basically fry the neurons running them.
They do a great little thing where you can actually... If you're looking at him head on, you can tell, because one of his eyes has got that light that they have in anime, and the other eye is just dead.
Yep.
But he says, it's okay, though, because when he plugs into Barbatos, it works.
Yeah.
Which is fucking worrying, but he
Yes.
doesn't seem to be bothered.
And of course, Atra and Cordelia comfort him at this point. And he's like, the fuck?
They just hug his head,
And he's like, wait, what?
Wait, what? Huh?
Okay. I guess I'll accept this.
Not sure how I'm supposed to react here. But I don't hate it. So...
Yeah. McGillis basically tells his adoptive dad, you probably want to go into exile now.
You want to run, because I'm coming.
Well, it's not even just that. He's like, it's not just him.
Yeah.
All of Gilhorn is basically looking at him going, yeah, you fucked up.
Well, one of the main tenets of Galahorn, as I mentioned earlier, is you do not interfere with Earth's sphere.
Right.
Yeah.
You do not interfere politically.
At least don't get caught. And this guy was trying to rig the primary election of one of the major Earth...
economic blocks.
Economic blocks, yeah.
And got caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run.
He just caused a lot of shit for Galahorn.
Yep. Yeah. That's basically Iron Blooded Orphans, though. I mean, there's lots of little details we can go on about, but we've been going on a long while and probably should wrap up about here.
Yeah.
So we should probably get into final thoughts. And as usual, Gav will end it, so I'll start. It'll be Eric, then Gav will finish thoughts because it's his recommendation. As we said at the beginning, I've never watched a Gundam series before. Not a real sort of, serious one. I've watched Build Fighters, and that's it. And I watched a couple episodes of G Gundam. So I've not watched a real Gundam series yet.
No.
It still doesn't count. It's not Universal Century.
Whatever. I will say, we mentioned earlier, I love the music was great. I like a lot of the characters. I like the fact that there was very few people who were actively stupid. There weren't many really dumb people in the show, which is kind of refreshing.
There was dumb moments.
Sure.
It's like I said, like the first couple of weeks, there are a lot of clowns in this show, but there are not many idiots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I like the characters. I especially liked Orga and Kudelia. They're probably my two favorites. But I liked virtual Biscuit. Yeah, I almost forgot Biscuit. There you go. Biscuit's in my three favorites. But I like most of the characters. Like McGillis is actually one of my favorite characters in the show. He's great. He's a complete bastard, but he's great.
So I might have missed something. Is McGillis a bastard? Have you been watching the same show, Peter? That's not what I meant, Eric.
Yeah, there's a moment I was thinking whether he was actually, the Farid's bastard son. That's when we found out he's adopted. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not a bastard, but adopted. That explained this. I was sort of twigging on his relationship with his father, which was not good.
No.
Yeah, I like the mech designs. It was a good show. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the first season. I intend to go back and watch season 2 at some point. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good, smart, political military show. Not much else I can really say about it beyond that. So I could go in more, but I think I'll leave it up to the two Gundam guys to go into more detail. But as someone who's not watched Gundam before, I really enjoyed this. So Eric, you're next.
Okay. So I really like Iron Blood Orphans. Out of all the non-Universal Century ones, it's probably my favorite. It is my favorite. It's the best of them. It's all of the characters are well realized and interesting and complex, and there's no one I wanted to put in a wood chipper or shove out an airlock for being too stupid or anything like that, which happens even in the Universal Century, which let's be honest isn't as high a watermark as I'm making it sound.
Seed.
Yeah, Seed. It's I enjoyed the mech designs. It's despite the lack of Zaku's, it's good. It's smart. Knows what the hell it's doing. It goes into some much more. The best Gundam series never shy away from the emotional cost of things. This show just says, yeah, but what if everyone involved was broken and had been since birth? But you still like them. They're still good people. All of them. Like Orga's... Watching Orga desperately struggle to be... to hold shit together in front of everyone and be the leader he needs to be, while at the same time not having a clue as to what that is amazing. And the fact that he still manages to pull it off makes him one of my favorite characters. Biscuit being everyone's rock, despite being this just soft-spoken, good-natured guy who runs the numbers and does logistics, and it really is just everyone's rock up until he gets squished. Atra is fucking adorable and awesome and tough as nails.
Yep.
And provides a real. She's probably the heart of the show, if I had to say anything.
Yeah.
Like, she's easily the most well-adjusted person in the show.
And that's saying something. That's testament to how fucking tough she is.
Yeah. And watching Cordelia evolve from a naive, idealistic tourist, for lack of a better term. I mean, she's trying to be more than that, but doesn't know how. To being an actual revolutionary is just great to watch. Like, yeah, I don't have a lot of bad things to say about this show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't have any bad things to say about this show. I think these guys have really covered pretty much everything that I was going to say. As I said, as far as the Gundam series go, it is highly regarded as probably one of the best. Definitely the best of most recent, and it doesn't have that nostalgia factor because it is a thing of off on its own. It's its own universe. It's its own setting. There are a lot of Gundam series out there that are lauded as being this, that, and the other, but they've all got their flaws, and I honestly cannot see that many flaws with this show. There's nothing that's superfluous. The world building is excellent. You get an idea of what's going on in all situations. It's not like, we're going to pull another political thing out of our arse just because we need to complicate things. It's no. This is legitimate, logical. Yeah, this is how things would happen. That makes sense. I get that. The mech designs again are great. They're very different to what you see in a normal Gundam show, but again they're a little bit more mechanical, a bit more stripped back. But they look great. The battles are great and violent, and just really, you feel the impact of the weight of the hits. I didn't notice any animation problems, so I was just like, giant robots.
I should mention that this is the only Gundam series where the actual Gundams are my favorite mechs.
That's a good point. That is also a good point. But then again, I think that's the weakness of the Greys than anything else, I think.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I literally cannot recommend this enough. And if we'd have had another 3 hours to talk, I would have been suggesting we did season 2 as well.
But we don't.
No.
So I think we're going to wrap things up here. After a very long episode, this will be coming in near the longest. Which is
unfortunately, this is one of those shows that's very dense.
Oh yeah,
and a lot to go.
Well, it's a Gundam series that was going to happen.
I was expecting this episode to run long, honestly. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode, though. I think we could talk on longer, but we've been going on way a long time.
Yeah, stop listening to us and go watch it.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
it's that if you haven't watched Iron Blooded Orphans, again, as someone who's not a Gundam fan, because I've not watched it, I can recommend it. It's good. Next time is my choice, and I'm choosing a show that is going to be an interesting one. We're going from a political action show to not. We're going to be covering a show for most of it, one of the smartest shows I've watched. And then the ending happens, and there's a lot of things. There's a lot of debate about the ending, the final couple episodes of the series. We're going to be covering Kado: The Right Answer. This should be interesting. All right, guys, that's going to do it, though, for this time. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be back after we finish Kado. That shouldn't take too long. It's only 13 episodes. So,
Yay!
Yay!
See you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.